British came in the 19th century. By the time that the British came and were establishing their territories in Yoruba land in the 1990s, many Yoruba families had produced two generations of university graduates. When Nigeria was amalgamated in 1914, the Yoruba nation was the only nation in it that was educated. And all that people talk about Yorubas, Nigerian nationalism was entirely Yoruba nationalism, because the Yoruba were the only people who had the education. So the British said, these Yoruba, they are not typical black people. They cannot be cheated, they cannot be deceived. They are as educated as we are, sometimes better educated than we are. And so we cannot put the affairs of our largest country in Africa in their hands. We must keep them low, keep them down. So all the time that things were happening in Nigeria in the 1950s, Chief Awolowo was performing wonders in Ibadan, and Western region was becoming, Western region became the pace setter in all areas of development. The British were not very happy about it. All of those things became for them proof. Yoruba are allowed to rule Nigeria. We finished. We won't be able to benefit as much from Nigeria. 1950, Titanic campaign, election campaigns, even for the Northerners. The question whether it was rigged is no longer a debate, it's no longer a point of debate. We all know that is what happened. Even some of the people who rigged the election, some of the British themselves, some of the British people themselves who rigged the election have written memoirs to say we rigged the election. We were asked to rig the election. Our employers from London, our superiors from London, asked us to rig the election, and we did. One of them wrote a memoir which he called Blue Collar Lawman. He was a young man from Oxford, and he was not sure that the way the British were running the affairs of Nigeria and leaving the Yoruba out was a good thing to happen to a country. And he was often grumbling. So he told the story. I have heard him tell the story. He said one day the Governor General, James Robertson, called for him. His name is William Smith. Harold Smith, yeah. And the Governor General said to him, Smith, you have problems. Your first problem is, I hear you have been grumbling that the way we are running the affairs of this country are wrong, are not worthy of a nation like the British, to be trying to twist the political life of a country. Well, I say you have a problem. The fact that we appear to be planning to rig the election for the Northerners, the 1959 election, the pre-independence election for the Northerners. Again, you have a problem because you are right. What we are going to do is to enthrone the Northerners as rulers of Nigeria. And you have yet another problem. I have set up a committee to handle the secret operations, the covert operations for rigging the elections. And I have appointed you to chair that committee. I was a young man. My first thought when I got out of his office was to go and pack my load and run away somewhere where they will never find me. But I knew the British government would find me, and when they found me, they would kill me. So I decided to surrender, and we rigged the election for the North.
And
he said, and I think he wrote in
1959, Ara Smith.
He can never get over the fact that the British, who are regarded as a civilized people, ruled by a class of well-educated and civilized gentlemen, descendants of great families, who sit in an office in London and distort the future of a great African country that was coming. I can never get over that.
Okay, bro.
But that was not all. The elections went, and Awolowo became leader of opposition in the federal parliament, and so on. And another leading member of the party was brought home to be premier of the Western region. Then the British saw their chance to move. They must disrupt the party, destroy the party, destroy Awolowo. And I have learned that the original thinking in all the planning for the 1962 disruption of the Western region, the declaration of a state of emergency in the region, the arrest of Chief Awolowo and his trial for treasonable felony was originally planned to do something worse. They were going to charge him for treason, find him guilty, and execute him. But some British families intervened, and so the thing was toned down to treasonable felony, punishable by imprisonment. And so, the one person who had the knowledge, the capability, the expertise, and the zeal and willingness to make Nigeria work was crushed. When they kept rigging elections then to enthrone a group that would be submissive to the North, I was just passing out of university in Ibadan. That time, 1962, I had been working in Christ School as a teacher for a few months. And a good number of us got together and decided, well, we are nobody. We don't have anything. Most of us were not even yet married. We have no money, no house, nothing. But we are citizens of this place. It be enough for us all, and we are not going to let anybody take it away from us. I'm telling you the story of how what you now call wet here came into being. Chief Ayofasami was our president, and I was his vice president. And we fought and fought until the military took over. For a start, we were happy. But then the military went forward and ruled for until 1979, more or less. And all that time, they were twisting Nigeria, destroying the federal idea, instituting a central command system for Nigeria and putting all of that in the hands of the House of Fulani, of the Fulani. In 1978, after Bapa came out of prison and he served in the Gawan government, he came to us in Ife. I was then a university professor. And he said, well, in spite of all that has happened, Nigeria is our country. We have the ability to build it and make it a great country. Let us go and do it. And we agreed. The leading people in the university, Professor Oluwasemin, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Sam Aluko, Professor Yenoga, Faculty of Law, then young professors like myself, David Oke, and so on. People from the administration, Wumi Adegmamire, and we gathered together and we promised Baba that we were going to support him. And we worked with him to create the Unity Party of Nigeria. I was chairman of many of the committees that wrote the position papers for the UPN, and in the end, I wrote the manifesto of the party. And we ran a great campaign. We were scattered all over Nigeria. First, I was working in Benue State. Then I was whisked to Cross River State at the time, to Uyo, where we were experiencing some difficulty. Again, all the statistics available to us show that we won that election. But the British had taught the people they were handing Nigeria over to one important lesson. And this is the lesson. And this is the root of failure. The lesson is this. All the running around, all the political party campaigns and noise and so on is just for the consumption of the people. That is not what decides who will rule the country. The people who decide who will rule the country are the people who are ruling the country now. The power is in their hand. And it is they who will empower and enthrone the next rulers, not the elections, not the campaigns. So, very dangerous. Very dangerous diseases were fed into the body politic of Nigeria. First, the enthronement of a people who have no idea of modernity. 2 years ago, a Fulani member of the House of Representatives stood up in the House of Representatives and made this following staggering statement. School. We don't know what universities are all about. And the only time we think we have no problem with electricity and third road and so on. The only time we think we have a problem is when we don't have cows or when we lose our cows. We cannot blame the Fulani for dragging Nigeria down. They have never in their whole history built a town or a village. They have been migrating people. Hausa land is the first place on earth where the people allowed the Fulani to take over their homeland. And they progressively destroyed the culture, the economy, and the confidence of the Hausa people. Today, some Fulani are bragging that they have succeeded in destroying the Hausa nation. and that all that has survived is only the Hausa language. So there was enthroned on Nigeria a people whose only idea of governance is to destroy and subdue and suppress the people so that they can rule and have full access to the resources. That's the idea of government. Celebration was October 1. On the 12th of October, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the leader of the Fulani, was quoted as making the following statement in Kaduna. This new nation called Nigeria shall be an extension of the estate of our great-grandfather Osman Dan Fodio. We will use the peoples of the Middle Belt as willing tools and the peoples of the South as conquered territory, and never let them rule over us, and never let them control their own future. Hear that statement again. This new nation called Nigeria shall be the extension of the estate of our great-grandfather Osman Dan Fodio. We will use the peoples of the Middle Belt as winning tools and the peoples of the South as conquered territory, and never let them rule over us, and never let them control their own future. Those who are going around saying, making friends with the Fulani, we want restructuring and so on and so forth. They don't know what they're dealing with. When I came back, naturally gravitated towards the group that in which I had many of my friends, Afeni Ferry. I wrote a memo for Afeni Ferry suggesting that we needed to look at what was happening in Nigeria more critically than we were doing, instead of just talking clap about restructuring. The document exists. And while the anger against me was building among some
recording in progress,
members were happy, the young people met in Ibadan and decided the people that they had elected me to come, that I was destroying their business. And after thinking about it for a whole month, I finally agreed to leave them, and I've been in the struggle for Yoruba self-determination since then. It is the only thing we can do. But something else, it is not a question of becoming president or not becoming president. The fundamentals of Nigeria are, and they are established, even if you are president. Ask Obasanjo. Finally, in 1999, after a whole decade of horrible disruption by Abacha, during which many of our leaders had to flee abroad into exile, the man who was president cooked up some constitution, gathered some people together in Asura, cooked up the constitution, and issued it by decree without any reference to Nigeria whatsoever. When you have managed your affairs in such a way that there is a people among you who can do such horrible things, who have the confidence that they can do such horrible things, then the country cannot exist. Gradually, Nigeria has been run aground. in order to make it easy for, in 1978, they changed the parliamentary throne, a Fulani man or a subordinate person under the Fulani. They put it all together in a 1999 constitution. Of what is happening, and so what stage are we in now? When I was a young professor, David Oke and I were from Ife, and we were in the Senate. We had a number of friends, and we began to wonder, how is it possible to institute so much corruption as was going on under Shagari? How is that possible? Within a year, 2 years, the whole place was awash with corruption. How? We went and saw Papa in Park Lane, and he said, well, you are the intellectuals. Do the research and find out. And this is what we found. I have written this to people before when I was in America. And when they read it, they told me, I cannot even keep this paper in my house because it's this is what happened. The particular instrument that the North were taught to use to control, to keep hold on the control of Nigeria was to keep the Middle Belt as part of Nigeria and to use the peoples of the Middle Belt, as Ahmadu Bello said, as willing tools. And they succeeded magnificently with that. Northern government wanted them to do it. So they were really willing tools. But in 1967, as the Igbo leadership were talking about secession and announced secession, Gawan decided that the one thing to do to stop them was to break Nigeria into many states. So the North was broken in such a way that the Middle Belt was separated from the North. And so the Fulani leadership then strategized that since they have lost control over the Middle Belt, it was going to become very difficult for them to continue to hold Nigeria. So in 1978, they held a series of meetings. And some of the most respected Islamic leaders were invited to those meetings. And people like Mohammed Gumi assured them that it is permissible in Islam to use public money to buy the loyalty of prominent citizens. So we don't have the Middle Belt anymore, but Nigeria has a lot of money now from the oil wells. And we must now systematically use that money to subdue and emasculate the political elite of the South. And the way to do it is occupy a position, let them steal as much money as they can, don't ask. about it. Let them take the money. We went and reported to our father that that's what we had found. He was astounded. You mean some people are saying that they would buy, and that's what has been happening. I am not saying that human greed is not part of the corruption in Nigeria. It's part of it. But the bigger and more fundamental part of it is the deliberate decision of a section of the country to use the wealth of Nigeria to destroy, subdue leadership, the political leadership of the rest of Nigeria. And it has succeeded marvelously. Look at what our leaders are doing in the Southwest. They no longer rule as Yoruba leaders. They rule as Fulani leaders. And under that kind of leadership, the Yoruba Southwest has been, and people from the East who were running away from the destruction of their own economy in the East came to Yoruba land and they began to do some trading anyhow. And they took over the trading of Yoruba land. And our governors had no answer. In 2014 or 2013, a young Ekiti boy living abroad came home, was in Ado Ekiti for the social media. That for more than shut down, because the Igbo had gone home to go and celebrate something in their homeland in the East. And they had shut down their shops. And there was no place to buy anything in Ado Ekiti, the capital city of Yoruba, of the Ekiti state. Then something more horrible then happened. In 2013, I think it was August 2013, the leadership of the Fulani held one. Ali Ogwa wrote a very staggering piece. He said, in 1960, Allah, through the British, gave us Nigeria to rule and to do with as we please. We have been, and we intend to continue. In 1966, the Igbo tried to wrestle the control of Nigeria from their hands, and they were crushed. People try to do so now. Kill, maim, destroy. I'm quoting him. Those are his words. We shall kill, maim, destroy, and turn Nigeria into the greatest bloodbath on the African continent. The Mujahideen are ready. That we shall win. After that, not long after that, the Fulani herdsmen, accompanied by military men, began to invade all all of Nigeria, including the South, including Yoruba land, and they have been at it since then. You think, oh, this is just herdsmen. It's not just herdsmen. It's a national agenda of the Fulani. They have the idea of a national home is alien to them. So the Yoruba have no right to be claiming that if we can deceive them or conquer them to take it away from them, then God has given it to us. That's the philosophy. In January 2018, the Fulani went and killed large numbers of people in Benue State and destroyed many villages. And so some elders thought we should go and commiserate with them. We were asked to bring 4 people from every zone, 4 people from the Yoruba, 4 people from the Igbo, 4 people from the South, 4 people from the Middle Belt, 16 of us. We all met in Abuja and flew to Makurdi. The governor of Benue State was waiting for us with all the elite of his Benue State. And after we had greeted them and commiserated with them, the governor then said something that was very, very strange. He stood up and thanked us. And then he said, well, the disaster for which you have come to visit us now is a little thing compared with the disaster that is coming. The people who said they were coming to kill and destroy us, and we gave the letters to the federal government, to the president, to the vice president, to the head of the military, to the head of the police, and so on and so forth, and they did nothing. And these people came on January 1 and killed large numbers of our people. We are still doing mass burials and conducting national mourning. But all of that seems now to be a small thing compared with what is coming. And I'm saying that because the same people who wrote to us to say they are coming to destroy us are now written again between the time of their attack on January 1 and today. And here is the letter. The letter said, dear Governor of Benue State, we see that you and your people are mourning and conducting mass burials. That is a little thing compared with what we are bringing to you. We are coming. And we have built, and the problem with us is that you regard the land in your state as belonging to the ethnic groups that live in your state. But the land doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us Fulani. Allah has given it to us. And we're not talking of the ethnic groups in Benue State alone. We are talking of ethnic groups in all parts of Nigeria, the Yoruba, the Igbo, and so on. Allah has given it to us, and we have a reason now to take it. And we will take it by force. We have accumulated money and weapons for the war. And if we have to go on for decades or even centuries, we are ready to go on until we subdue you all. If you think your federal government will stand up and defend you, you're deceiving yourself. Around about the same time, there was a fight between Yoruba kids, Yoruba youth, and the Hausa Fulani Sabo in Ife. Again, As is the tradition of the Yoruba, the leaders got together and thought we cannot leave Ife people to be doing this to foreigners, we can't, and so on. They only encouraged us to send a delegation. So we sent a delegation. And we started in small. We had visited the Ife to thank the Oni, because it was the Oni who prevented the real horror in that city that day. Our boys were ready to wipe out the entire Hausa Fulani community in the suburb. And they were ready. They were pushing them forward. Until the Oni came and stretched out his mighty hands and said, Ife, please don't do this in my time. And save the situation. So we went and thanked the Oni. We went and visited the Yoruba people, the Ife people, in the big hall in front of the palace. And then the Oni had asked the Sabo people to wait for us, and they were waiting for us, and we went to visit them too. And we were nice and so on, etc. A building that was built of hosts, and so on and so forth. And the leader, who was a Fulani man, leader of the Sabo, who was a Fulani man, that's something. If the Hausa are the traders, the Fulani are not traders. When the Hausa go out and create a Sabo in a town, they make one of them, by the law that exists in Hausa land, they must go and find a Fulani man to come and lead them. Come and be their Siriki or whatever the title they might give him. So this Fulani man said, answered for a start, he said good, nice things, thanked us for coming, etc. Then got to the call.
Recording in progress.
The land belongs to God. God has never abdicated ownership of the land. And it's entirely in his power, in his prerogative, to give it to another people today who are not Yoruba.
Once again, you're watching the live transmission on Koikimedia, the 3rd of April 2022, by Professor Banji Akintoye.
In the management of any country have been done in Nigeria. Poorer and poorer faster than any other country alive. A United Nations country analysis 2014 to 15 said that Nigeria has fallen so far down that it is difficult to see how it can pick itself together again. The poverty is egregious and growing. About 80 million, the report said, the Nigerian people, about 6% of the population, are living the poverty line. 2 years later, the international agency monitoring extreme poverty in the world came to the conclusion that Nigeria was the home of extreme poverty in the world. The United Nations report says that Nigeria is the poorest in the world today in access to electricity, to pure water, to good roads, to good governance, to good judiciary services, and everything. That all the development indices in Nigeria are operating below the poverty line. And another international agency monitoring population trends in the world says that Nigeria has one of the fastest growing populations in the world. That very soon, by 2030, Nigeria will have overtaken many countries and will become the 4th largest country in the world. After China, the 3rd largest, I'm not sure. China, the States, then there will come Nigeria. And what that means is that Nigeria is bad. Not only that, we are Yoruba and we have Yoruba families here who want us to come and visit their villages, and we drive far, far, far into the bush. Every hut, every village, every hamlet that we see along the street, you don't hear the sound of generator in Benin Republic. Why? Because the people who are managing the electricity in Benin Republic are educated people, people who are capable to do what they are wanted to do. In Nigeria, it is not so. Nigeria is the 8th largest producer group, but Nigeria has no electricity, no refined oil, because the refineries we established have all ground to death. Our roads, especially in the south, are deteriorating fast and fast and fast. The federal roads in south, especially in Yoruba land, are no longer roads. Ado-Ekiti and Akure are 2 state capitals, just about 28 miles apart. There is no road there connecting them anymore. If you go to Ado now by air from Lagos, you cannot, the taxi cab or the car or hired car that will take you from Akure is not going to take you to drive straight the 28 miles to Akure or to Ado-Ekiti. It's going to go out on the road to Ilesha until it comes to Igbaraoke. Then it will go right and go up the hills to Ilawe, and from there to Ado-Ekiti. That's a journey of about 78 miles in the place of 28 miles. That's what we experience. And some people are talking of restructuring. I mean, why? The worst of it all is that our own rulers, our own governors have become Fulani rulers. The traditional thing with the Fulani is this: that where they know how to tax people. Lugard wrote in his handing over notes in 1919 that they would tax anybody. They would tax the trader, they would tax the farmer, they would tax even people who wake up in the night to go and hunt for honey in the bush. They would tax people who carry firewood for sale. Then when all the tax has been collected and brought to the emir, he will give his chief official, the Galadima, the Waziri, and so on, their own shares. Then he will keep the rest. And then they will go and continue to collect more taxes. That's all that the Fulani know about the economy. And that's how they're managing the economy of Nigeria today. Seize and grab and hold. That is it. There is no regular economy. And we are now at a point when the Nigerian economy can grind to a halt very soon. But what our governors are doing also is that they will go to Abuja, bring the deposit it in their wives' account about 2 or 3 months so that you can yield some interest there, and then do with it whatever they like. Under Chief Awolowo's leadership in the 1950s, there were powerful rules that guarded the touching of public money. Awolowo, our father Awolowo, as premier, could not put his hand upon any money belonging to the Western region. The money, and the department or an area needs money, they will put up the voucher, and it will go to the chief of service, and it will go to the accountant general, and so on. Even if it is Chief Awolowo's department as premier that needed the money, that was the way to get it. It could not just call up money. Whereas today, our governors can call out money and just do whatever they like with it, give it to their wives and whatever, friends. So they have destroyed our traditional system of governance. What our father Awolowo was doing in the 1950s to modernize the system of governance. The sole purpose of governance in the history and culture of the Yoruba people is to minister to the welfare of the people. But that has been abandoned now. Foreigners come and take over the trade of our land, and our governors do nothing about it. I am told that it is easier for anybody who can bribe, no matter where you come from, to acquire a certificate of occupancy to land in Lagos. If you are Yoruba and you apply and you are waiting, you will wait for Godot. You wait for a long time. Now the Fulani are taking over our land, and our governors are doing nothing about it. There is one governor in the east of Yoruba land in Ondo. The governor called Akeredolu. He's different a little. But there is no part of Yoruba land. In fact, in some parts of Yoruba land, if you try to make an effort to deal with the Fulani who are coming to kill, maim, destroy, and rape, and kidnap in your locality, the governor will order your arrest. So that's who we are now today. You can hear all the indices of how not to run the affairs of a country. Now Nigeria is teetering on the edge of collapse and disintegration. And it must be our duty to pray that God will make the disintegration happen quickly and peacefully. Nigeria has become a terrible entity on earth. In the interest of humanity, it needs to disintegrate and disappear so that the various peoples in it can find ways to rule themselves. We Yoruba can rule ourselves. We can go back to the Yoruba tradition of governance and create a country, a laughing, loving, illuminated country, peopled by free and happy men and women. We can do it, but we cannot do it in Nigeria. We can only do it on our own. You have heard how they learn how to run the affairs of a country or how to run a country aground. Nigeria has now been essentially run aground. And we must be prepared when we have our country to ensure that the diseases of Nigeria will not enter our land. I call upon you all to begin to think of ideas that will make it possible for us to run our country the way we have run our lives in history, where government is a servant of the people. It's a servant of its people. I repeat, the Yoruba government is a servant of its people. We must not have a situation in which people are pouring out of university and they're roaming the streets. And some of them go into the desert in order to reach Europe and die in the desert and the Mediterranean. We must create a country to which large numbers of our people abroad can come in order to use their expertise and their exposure to help to build a great new country for their people. Thank you for asking me to speak on this topic. I never knew I would be asked to speak upon it. So thank you, Dr. Okebion. Thank you all working for the Yoruba nation. May God grant our efforts with success, crown our efforts with success very soon. And may we have the humility when the country comes to surrender our personalities, our pride and everything to the building of a great country. And not go around the way we are going now. Everybody thinking that he is the Lord and Master in his own right. No. If a country is to succeed, it must be a country of great humility and discipline. I thank you all. God bless you all. Amen.
Well, you've been listening to Professor Banja Akintoye. This is a live transmission. It's Koikimedia. It is the 3rd of April 2022 at exactly 20:21 p.m. local time here from London. Adúpẹ́ bàbá wa Professor Banja Akintoye. Adúpẹ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wo ètò náà. And you can see why we need to leave Nigeria as quickly as possible. It has literally held our bondage as the Yoruba people for the last 61 years.
Thank God for giving you that revelation.
If we stay in Nigeria, Nigeria will definitely kill us all. The Fulanis are very wise. They bribe every Yoruba sons and daughters, and that is why I want to say, my name is Olami Koiki, and right there you're listening to Dr. Kibioro Kosi.
It's unfortunate that most of the people that are in that contraption have only learned experience, the practical experience that they all have is how to run a country to failure, unfortunately. Therefore, the Yoruba people and whosoever wants to start up a country out of Nigeria must train and retrain their people. Because if you're looking for experience, certificate of, what's it called, the CV, curriculum vitae, the resume of those that are practically involved there, from the top right to the bottom, is all how to run the country to failure, unfortunately. So, like I said, we need to talk clear goal, institutes to begin to train our people. On how not to run the country to failure. And only those that pass that training should be allowed to do anything in that country whatsoever. All right? Foxwell, sit back. No, it's not.
It's asking you to unmute. Asking that you unmute.
Oh, okay. Where is he? You can unmute him, Mommy Janet, if you find him. Okay, he didn't speak. I was looking for his own name. I think he's Ilano. Okay. Just a minute. Worldwide. When you use Ilano worldwide, I just assume that you are about to do it. Sorry. Sorry about that. You should be there now.
I'm with you now. I'll be calling on you to promote me.
Sorry, I was looking for Maxwell. I didn't know you were Lana Odua. I mean, anytime I see Lana Odua, I only remember Baba Kitoye. Sorry about that. Maybe you will use Maxwell for today, just so we don't mix you up. Well done, sir. Yes, okay. Yeah, you can carry on. Baba has concluded the paper. Okay, I think I will say this is paper one. We would have, because we cannot have time to ask all the questions today. After Easter, Baba will tell us, after Easter break and all these children and grandchildren have said hello, Baba ma pada wow. Paper two ni egbela ma bere question eleyi ati le bere question ko se ta fe se le ni po se ta fe se le mommy wa nbe mommy Janet, Dr. Janet is still there. Yoruba Central Mindset Change Program is still there.
We've all listened to Baba, and Baba said something very factual. He said, if you look at all the indices of development, number one is the education. The total paralysis of primary and public primary and secondary education in Nigeria. As I speak to you, all the public universities in Nigeria are on strike. You see the infrastructures. There is no road in Yoruba land. There is no road in Yoruba land where you can drive for 5 minutes straight up. Is it out? As we speak, primary health care system is dead in Nigeria. We all go to private hospitals. Leave me, everything is dead. So, what are we doing in the country? What are we doing in this country? Other than to pray and work hard to ensure that Nigeria is safe, and we all have our country that is comprises of people with same ideology, same norms, same ideas, same culture, same beliefs. We thank you for the exhibition of intellectualism. May your days be long and in good health and strength. We thank you, sir. So I would like to invite Dr. Isaac Okebioru. You know, the organizer of this webinar is Yoruba Diaspora Central Office. So we need to know who they are, their objectives, their agenda, their ideology, their mission, their programs, their activities. So, Dr. Okebioru, you have just 2 minutes, please, so that we can invite Baba back to round up his to do the final round of his presentation, and we excuse him. Please, sir. Dr. Okebioru, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maxwell. One more time, I greet everyone hearing me. God bless you all, and God bless Yoruba race, Yoruba country, Yoruba people all over. The central office, the Yoruba central office started with the UK head office, Yoruba UK central office, and the aim is to get Yoruba known. That is the ultimate. Get Yoruba known. Get Yoruba out there on the same level platform with other international world countries. That is the ultimate. But how do we do that? We need to have an office whereby we can get Yoruba people together, educate ourselves, de-educate ourselves from mentality of Nigeria. Unfortunately, that's not good for us. And then move on to educating ourselves how to fit into a modern developing world and be a world power, as Baba Akitoye said, one of his interviews, that will be of record in the whole world. So the central office is the Secretariat of Yoruba people. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any in any of our diaspora countries. So we started with UK last year, and we moved, and all our people in the different diaspora countries imbibed the idea, and by God's grace, we are setting it up. It's been a long journey, particularly when it started by a few of us, contributed our own money, resources up to date to get things going. So at this point now, we've gotten to the point whereby we are proud of what God has laid down for us, help us to do, to achieve this, and we are calling on all Yoruba in the United Kingdom to now take it all. We have which is registered, properly registered in the United Kingdom as a charity organization. First of all, to coordinate and coordinate our people, welfare support, come together and then help the Yoruba race internationally. That is what the office is about. So we have 2 centers, project centers in London, and we're going to be having more outside London. So we had a meeting in December, first time physically. We're going to have next one on the 11th of June by God's grace. We're calling, like I said, we're calling on all Yoruba people now to make this their home. This is the Secretariat of Yoruba. It belongs to Yoruba, not the person that found it. Only God calls one person to start a thing, but belongs to the whole people. So we want all Yoruba in the United Kingdom to take charge of all of this. However, he tried to log in. I'm not sure if he's here. Okay. It's not in there. So he's the chairman of the board of trustees. We have Baba Alex Ajala as a member of the board of trustees. We have Honorable Otumba Husseini, member of trustee, and myself, and as the executive secretary. So it is a formal organization, properly established. We have our own bank account, and all of us make donations. The center we're using are donated by a Yoruba person. Our center at Camberwell, about to start now, was donated by a member of a Yoruba person. The charity organization and many other facilities and resources that we're using are donated. This is the spirit of Yoruba now coming together, which we have started in the United Kingdom. And the fire is burning in Canada, United States of America, Spain, France, the Netherlands, Malaysia, South Africa, Zambia, and Republic of Ireland. So on all of these places I've mentioned and more, we have our offices, and we are working hard to develop. We know that we need recognition of these nations, and if from the result last year that only 8% go to do more work and than other, such that more people recognize, know who Yoruba is. They know who Nigeria is, but they need to know the people that are actually producing for Nigeria, the Yoruba people. That is the aim of Yoruba Central Office and every branch we have worldwide. And we're coming up with one project which we explain to you today, which is Yoruba is changing their mindset. We Yoruba people, we are changing our mindset. We just had now how not to lose the country or how to ground a country to failure. So that's a mindset that every practical experience that we've had. So we now have starting to change our mindset. We'll be delivering that lecture of about 30 minutes, after this program. So that's summary of Yoruba. And every country, you will need to have a center, a Yoruba center, a secretariat for Yoruba. And all the people in that country will contribute and run it. Share in the secretariat, in the community center. Awakawa ní UK, a máa dáwó. Okay, ju pọ́n márùn-ún lóṣù kan. Awakawa ní UK, láti run office wa ní UK. Àwọn tó Canada, wọ́n á ṣe tiwọn náà. Àwọn America á ṣe tiwọn náà. Àti gbogbo orílẹ̀-èdè bẹ́ẹ̀. So, a dẹ̀ máa ṣe project, wọ́n máa ṣe community work. Tó jẹ́ pé àwọn ọmọ ìlú yẹn wá mọ̀ wá. Èyí tí àwọn ọmọ wá yẹn ayé àtijọ́ nìyẹn. Ní UK yìí wá mọ̀ wá. Because a máa ṣe tó jẹ́ pé they will know nǹkan rere ni mo sọ àwọn nǹkan rere pèsè rere a máa ṣe. Báwọn yòókù àwọn iṣẹ́ àṣeṣe nìyẹn. Àwọn Jews wọ́n ní a whole city nílùú yìí. Àwọn Chinese wọ́n ní country say center wọ́n ní ìlú tiwọn in the center of London. Tó ń pè ní Chinatown. Wọ́n bá wa ń bí mi náà.
Ta ló ń sọ̀rọ̀?
Àwọn gbogbo all other nations they have center, they have secretariat in the different in the countries. So àwọn ìṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní last year alábẹ̀rẹ̀ ọlọ́dẹ ràn wá lọ́wọ́, and we are going forward. Mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àwọn bàbá wa Alex Ajala wọ́n wà ń bí, we will have a lot to say about that. Gbogbo history bí wọ́n ti try àti ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀ tí ò bọ́ sí, but nílé yìí o pẹ̀lú kẹta à ń rí nílé yìí àwọn fẹ́ dá àjò gbé sájò, àwọn fẹ́ kéré oko délé, so aláti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ èyí tí ẹ ká ṣe ní diaspora aláti ṣe ń bí o láti ran gbogbo ìran Yorùbá lọ́wọ́. Nǹkan tí ilé iṣẹ́ wà fún ni o, kì í ṣe ẹgbẹ́ o, ìdẹ́ ṣe olórí ẹgbẹ́, kì í ṣe umbrella ẹgbẹ́ kankan, no, it's an office. Àwọn èèyàn àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ wa àwọn dẹ̀ mọ̀ lágbára Ọlọ́run a ní about 180 ordinary members àwọn tó máa dìbò láti yan trustees níparí ọdún. Lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí a ní about 35 workers, volunteers tí jẹ́ pé time wọn owó wọn intellect wọn lọ́wọ́ gbogbo wa pátápátá níwájú àwọn bàbá wa gbogbo tó wà níbí àtàwọn ènìyàn wa tó jẹ́ Yorùbá. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín o, all you workers èlé máa dárúkọ yín tó à ní kò mílíọ̀nù, all your ordinary members. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín, ẹ̀yin ní ló jẹ́ kó possible. Tá a bá dákẹ́ àtẹ̀lẹ́dákẹ́ bá possible ni o. We have to make sure that we have a center. The center is to bring Yoruba people together. And the bringing of Yoruba people together is to launch us into the front seat. After jáde kúrò lábẹ́ àhámọ́ lágbára Ọlọ́run àlàyé. A ti ṣe gbogbo everything nípa mindset change yẹn. A ti ṣe àti tẹ máa gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn èèyàn Amẹ́ríkà léni 7 months, la fi ń plan it, program development, serious one, oṣù méje, and everything is ready now to be delivered. Gbogbo àgbáyé, gbogbo Yorùbá láti mọ̀ pé we have to change our mindset. You have to decide that it is about Yoruba before you think about yourself. That requirement for passion for your Yoruba country, requirement for your support for Yoruba country, Yoruba country, Yoruba race, Ojoto afekina eko josi àwọn nǹkan tí center wà fún ni, bàbá wa honorable bàbá Elder Ajala kí a lè fún aláyè tó ń sọ̀rọ̀, to encourage all of us. He's a member of the board of trustees, and of course father wọ́n run ọ̀sẹ̀ mẹ́wàá tó parí last week giving us lectures on the history of Yoruba and everything. Bàbá Ajala sir, God bless you. Ẹ pẹ́ fún wa sir, Ọlọ́run á dẹ́ mi sí o.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, but kí n tó sọ̀rọ̀ mo dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ lọ́wọ́ bàbá mi Professor Banji Akintoye. I hope he's still there. Inú mi dùn púpọ̀ fún gbogbo nǹkan tó ti ṣe lálẹ́. Wọ́n tún fi yé wa pé Yoruba ni wá, and we deserve our sovereignty. That's the key point. We are not begging for it. It is time. We are going to call for the dissolution of the amalgam. Totally, our facts were lórí kíní. And that is why I believe what we are doing tonight is also an eye-opener. Kí àwọn èèyàn lè mú tọ́ bí ọ̀rọ̀ ṣe jẹ́. Ká sọ fún àwọn tó wà lé torí mo wo fídíò kan ṣe ìjọ tó ń pariwo pé election náà fẹ́ ṣe. Àní wọ́n ṣe nítorí pé wọn ò tí ì mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ni. Kọ́lọ́run Olódùmarè kó jẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó bọ́ sí rere. Kí àwọn tó wà lé kán lè mọ nǹkan tí ó wà lẹ̀. Iná jó lórùlé. According to Prof, the country has been run to the ground. And according to me, the country has died a long time since 1962 when Paolo went to prison. And Western region was made a vassal of the federal government. We have not gone out of that imagery. We are pretending to thinking that we are somebody. We are not. That is why we believe gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ní ilé àtòkò everywhere in the world. The Yoruba descendants in the first diaspora in the 300 years ago, and those of us here, not by choice, but by the pressure of the problems we are facing. I myself left Nigeria because of electricity. So long that by Olódùmarè and by the kó tètè yé wa, kó tó pẹ́ jù, because the Yoruba race should be taken after the falling into the pit. Don't gbẹ́ fún wa. Àní jẹ́ erin tí wọ́n fẹ́ mú jọba tó ń jó lọ wájú kó tó wà wájú ẹ̀. And I again thank the Prof. For I want to say he woke me up a second time. And most of you know I have been on this journey for long. When I saw him strutting on the podium in one of his programs in Nigeria, that was my feeling. Lọ́lọ́run Olódùmarè, a rí bẹ́ẹ̀, so that we will have a sovereign Yoruba nation. Ẹ ṣé gan láti fún mi láyé láti sọ̀rọ̀.
Ẹ ṣé bàbá, so máa padà sọ́dọ̀ àwọn bàbá wa Bọ́lá Maxwell, mo kàn ní kí n ṣàlàyé fún wa pé ìyípadà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, àwa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí change mind wa níbí. So àwọn tó iṣẹ́ dẹ̀ ní láti get sí gbogbo Yorùbá pátápátá. Èso ńlá tó ní oúnjẹ nínú ó wà lábẹ́ bíríkì yìí kò jáde. Àyè wà fún láti jáde ṣùgbọ́n kò rí ọ̀nà ń gbà yẹn. So nísìnyí ó ti wá wá ọ̀nà jáde tó jẹ́ pé ó ti wá ń yọ ewé. Lọ́wọ́ tó bá yọ ewé tán bẹ́ẹ̀ ló máa yọ fúláwà. Tó bá yọ fúláwà tán ló máa yọ èso. Mo ṣe máa ń ṣe nìyẹn. So we have moved out from under the bricks. We have broken the bricks and we are beginning to show our leaves. Ayé wọn mọ̀ wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni rere, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọlọ́gbọ́n. God has given us a lot of people. That is the aim of the central office. Office to start with, Secretariat of Yoruba in all countries of the world. That is the aim of the central office. And thank God, countries are already waking up. Each country yàtọ̀, à ń kọ́ wọn bó ṣe máa ṣe, bó ṣe máa influence, bó ṣe máa gbé gbèsè jẹ́ pé àwọn ìjọba tó wà ní country yẹn wọ́n á mọ̀ Yorùbá. 8% tọdún tó kọjá yẹn, by sometime this year we are to 50%. Nígbà tá a bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣe àgbogbo apáta diaspora especially aláti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kọ́ mọ̀ wá sí rere. A máa pe gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa jẹ́ pé ìlú yẹn ti dáná tó mọ̀. All the nurses, all the doctors, all the engineers, all the we are there, but they don't know us as Yoruba. They know us as some other name. What the pastor there look for? They're not Nigerians. We are Yoruba. That is the aim of central office, and then to let the community relate with us with our culture and tradition and make it good. So, àwọn èèyàn wa láti America àti àwa náà ta bẹ̀rẹ̀ program yìí wọ́n máa sọ díẹ̀ lórí ẹ̀ fún wa for about 30 minutes later on. Baba Maxwell, sir, thank you for the time.
All right, thank you very much. we are moving to another section of the program, which is the Yoruba Central Office is deeply concerned about the destruction of the Yoruba value system. We have all been corrupted by the Nigerian situation. And this is affecting the mindset, the thinking, the ideology of our people. And we felt we need to have a value reorientation so that by the time we get to this Yoruba nation that we are all aiming at, we won't have a repeat of the Nigerian situation. So as a result of this, the Yoruba Central Office, the Yoruba, I want you to correct me if I'm correct, the Yoruba Nation Central Office.
Yoruba Central Office Diaspora.
Okay, the Yoruba Central Office Diaspora is putting up a program titled Changing Our Mindset. Our mindset to our mindset towards one another, our mindset towards the institution, our mindset towards the system, the system we want to run, our mindset towards the institution, our mindset towards the rules, our mindset towards another, our allegiance or not allegiance, how cooperative or not cooperative, how loyal or disloyal, how trustful or mistrustful. So the number one leader of our struggle is Professor Banji Akitoye, and the leadership of Yoruba Diaspora Central Office. We want him to set the ball rolling, to set the agenda of this value reorientation project titled Changing Our Mindset. It is aimed at encouraging the Yoruba people to live a life of omoluabi, life of honesty, life of sincerity, life of loyalty, life of passion, life of dedication to what we believe in, dedication to conscience. So, Professor Banji Akitoye, sir, I want to yield the floor to you, sir, to launch and on behalf of Diaspora, I want to yield the floor to you, sir, to launch this advocacy project for the benefit of our struggle for liberation and freedom. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. For me, I want to play this short clips animation that we've produced to explain this program. The title, Their Mindset. Mo fẹ́ put a ní lọ́kàn tí gbogbo a máa wò ó. Ẹ ṣé.
The Yoruba are changing their mindset. We are for mindset change. We want to cheer ourselves and our target of the world that Yoruba mindset is from downward thinking to upward thinking, for the good. From bondage and backwardness to forward progression, ignorance to knowledge, from primitivity to modernization, from darkness to shining light, from poverty. They have had enough. The people are the Yoruba, forced to live in a country since 1904 with other tribes of far different culture, that to continue to live in that same country with some tribes is no good for them at all, good for their generations to come. They have found wisdom their mindset and are getting out of their entrapment in that geographical expression that they have been into. Land of our exalted for the whole world to see. Blood. Truly, I trust that you too can make something, anything. Well done, all you blessed Yoruba. All change, peace, all change.
Thank you. All change. We are not Nigerians. Unfortunately, the only experience, except your bomb, even in 1914, the only practical countries run is what we have seen in Nigeria. But those of us that have been outside Nigeria for time can be said that they have stayed too long. There can be better way to run a country. What our Baba is telling us today, how not to run a country. He said, be able to imbibe and practicalize what we have learned from him today. And that is taken up. So the whole package for today is about preparing us people. You will hear from our mother, Dr. Jennifer, on critical thinking, deep analysis on what to do to have a mindset change. So all the program today is about calling us to the real truth ground, not just assuming things that will happen, not just thinking things will just happen. Yes, mistakes have been made in the past, but we cannot carry on making the mistakes. Every race is their responsibility to make sure that they embrace their race, train their race, and develop them. The Fulani people who are doing what they are best at doing. The Igbo people are doing what they are best at doing. Yoruba people were educated. We come here, we had the first television and all these stories. We don't want to be the one that will be at the back of the bench anymore. Not this generation, Baba was emotional when he was talking about this thing. Grab that. No. And I'm not sure anybody. I want to attack us. They're waiting to see whether we will defend ourselves. So we must defend ourselves. We must have properly set up offices in all the countries of the world. United Nations says they are not a state. They cannot make any country a state. They will only recognize us as a state if other countries recognize us as a state. So which country will recognize us as a state when they don't even know that we exist there? So the first is to come out there en masse in every country, come work together. That is the only way that we maintain and keep our race. Yoruba wa baba fi kuma dagba si, kuma ku. For all Yoruba, home and abroad, everywhere. We have to work hard. We have to change what has been done. It's a big mistake that was made, but that mistake can be too and lay. Our diaspora, so you shall be well with all Yoruba people. God bless Yoruba race. God bless Yoruba nation. God bless our fathers. So I'm going to call out question after Easter. Because around members of parliament to fair wash, but time is short. At difficult. So my members were honorable family were out of just share for the past 7-8 months. That's a good job. I want to tell everyone, everything. So I said, this stage you just pay affect UK. At least £5. McDonald. You should come from office Yoruba. So I want to share one year, I'll find a long contribute. I want Jews, I'll find a long contribute. I want Chinese, I'll find a long contribute. So to buy the Chinese country, they mess one around as much. Affect Yoruba, my period, Dr. Ayo, or shouldn't be at where are you? I can see you there. Are you there? Let me try and unmute you.
I say Yoruba nation is non-negotiable. Yoruba nation is not going back. You are watching a live transmission on Koikimedia.
Yes.
The 3rd of April, 2022.
Having very critical one that will really nobody is going on because real serious scientific analysis, our Dr. Mama, Dr. Barrister Jenny wants to do, or Ofin at the science, you know. So want to see quickly what we have done, you know, briefly on mindset change, so that it can key in to the lecture that we have received from Baba Akintoye on how not to rule. So we have to know how not to do it and know how to do it. So we want to see how do we change from how not to how to. Thank you.
I would like to share screen.
Just a minute, then I'll make you. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Ayofemi, and I'll be here talking with another meeting member. We're going to be presenting mindset change. Professor Akintoye has said a lot about what I'm going to be talking about, so this is going to be a fast one. So the big question is, what is a mindset? So we're going to look at it this way. It can be defined as a way of how we see, perceive things. Many ways which you can think of mindset is a continuum. There are many types of mindset. So there's a growth mindset, which was done by Dweck, of which there's fixed and growth. There's a fixed and there's a growth mindset, because the growth mindset believes that talent and abilities can be developed over time. There's a positive, and there's the other side, and a positive mindset of being full entrepreneurial mindset. There's an abundant mindset. Which doesn't say the word impossible. It puts an apostrophe between the I and the M and says I am possible. And there's our mindset, again, is how we make sense of the world around us and how we make sense of ourselves. Our attitude is how we feel about something. Our mindset shapes our attitude. Our attitude, we have ideas, and our attitude also our beliefs. Mindset is the expression of a belief that we embrace. Now, what it has one to make something or someone different, to alter or modify. The second definition, which is similar, is to replace something with something that is new, current situation. So we're going to go into a little bit into our past. The early Yoruba society. So the people of Yoruba speaking origins, we had a sense of identity. We had our own form of government. We had our culture. We had our values. All of this together helps us to thrive as a community. And then because we were thriving, we started having interactions with foreigners, even to influencing the change of name of Eko to Lagos. Lagos is the name that we got from the Portuguese. There's also a place that is Lagos in Portugal. Early Yoruba society, we had a very rich system of government. It had pros and cons. We had the Obas, and we had the Basharuns. We were like the control of that. We had our own robust defense system. We had a robust economy, our hearts, a lot of which are museums all over the world, and our spirituality. So we move into the amalgamation, which Baba Jala spoke a lot about the last meeting we had. But there's an important point I want to bring up here. On the 3rd of July in 1888, we signed the bilateral trade agreement, the Alaafin of Oyo, Yoruba land, at the head of the Ketu, Jebu, and Oyo. And he signed this agreement with the Queen of Great Britain and Ireland then. And events from that time accelerated towards being amalgamated by Lord Lugard in 1914, as we all know, and Baba Jala spoke extensively. So let's go back and watch that video. And at this time in the agreement that they wrote was referred to as Lagos. So we already had a lot of foreign influence in our nation. And most importantly, we had Yoruba land. We were called Yoruba land. There was no Nigeria there. Yoruba land, that's where Yoruba land was written, and there's a treaty there identifying us as a group of people with 4 corners: Egba, Ketu, Jebu, and Oyo. Now we're going to Yoruba today. So from the amalgamation, a lot of things have happened, but there's something we are sure of, and all of you here today, I'm sure you're sure of it. Our sense of identity, our quality of life, our culture, our values have been on the steady decline. In fact, they are plummeting at a now. People are being killed in record numbers on a daily basis. There's poverty in the land. I mentioned quite a bit about that, so I won't go into that. We, as a people, we've lost our sense of values. Where we now promote wealth, we don't want to know the source of wealth, over values like integrity, honesty, hard work. Right now, there's confusion in the land. There's a lot of anxiety, and there's a lot of sadness about what the future holds for over 70 million Yoruba people living in current day Nigeria. In origin, we are angry. We are angry that our survival as a people is under existential threat. But our anger is good. Our anger is to promote our survival. Our anger is to control. Our optimistic. And importantly, our anger gives us energy. And what it gives us energy to do, it gives us energy to change things. Yoruba Mindset Change Program. As we heard in the clip, that Dr. we are changing our mindsets. And I want to also focus on the logo of the Mindset Change Program. Let's focus on the one on the left. If we see there are conditions for a seed to germinate. It needs sunlight, it needs water, it needs air, and it needs nutrients. Now, what are the things that stunted the growth of this viable seed? It's what we are examining in our Mindset Change Program. We are putting everything on the table. What has changed this seed from flourishing? What is stopping this seed from being a thriving plant? And so we are examining everything because we believe that and under the right conditions, we can grow. At this present time, we are like a light that's been placed under a bushel. And we're saying no more.
Honorable Ayo, right of way. Baba wants to leave because it's getting for him.
All right, sir.
Can we just pause you a minute there? Baba has one or two things to say to us and some good news for us that we will have him again after Easter. So, Honorable Ayo, don't go away. Let us give Baba the chance. If you remove the screen where you are, you can come back from that point on. Once, just 5 minutes for Baba Akitoye. I want that so that I can unmute. Unmute, sir. Can unmute, sir. Unmute, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if I said a few words that I need to say.
Ben, sir.
All right. Okay, go once and for all. I need to go to bed now, and I don't want to go, but I have to go because I love you. I don't want to go. But an important thing, I see what is happening here as speaking to the future of our new Yoruba country. I live in America, and I know how the Chinese propagated themselves. Exactly what is happening here is what they use. And we must take it to the point at which we are not only teaching our people things, we are also bringing our culture in commercial ways to all parts of the world. The Chinese open a shop, and it is in every corner, every nook and corner of America. There you can buy Chinese types of food, Chinese types of decoration, Chinese whatever, and so on. I just want you to know that I'm so enthusiastic about what you are doing here, that I think that the time will come, by the grace of God, when we have our country, our government must invest in a thing like this in every country in the world in order to serve our nation. Every nation, the diaspora in each country will establish their own and fund it. This is not part of the general funding of the Yoruba National League and different things, and they are putting it together methodically. But this one is Yoruba diaspora in the United Kingdom who support their office with a little monthly due that I urge you all to do in the United Kingdom. Bless the Yoruba name. God bless this effort and God behind it. I repeat, please support this, your first diaspora's office, central office in the United Kingdom. And when it goes to other countries, we will go to those other countries and ask you to support your own central office. God bless you all. I love you all. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Baba, what you have planted today shall germinate, and you too will reap fruit from it as the Lord God lives. In Jesus' name. We all in Yoruba land, even before now, ourselves, we do more than this. All the staff, about 35 to 40 of us staff, working volunteers. You know, we raise funds more than this. This is just for all the Yoruba people in UK, minimum of £5 just to support the office. They call what they call is called core funding. Things like a rent, to rates, transportation, petty cash, and all that stuff. You know, for setting up the project centers. When at the project centers, Yoruba people come for support, for advice, for counseling, we take care of them. That's what this fund is for. And this flyer, and we have 5-man committee, what's it called, funds management team. Baba, Dr. Pawayemi, like I said, is the chairman of that family. Baba, Otumba Ashim is also on the management team for these funds. Myself, I'm there. We have a treasurer. We have an auditor, an external accountant. We have a compliance officer, and we have the solicitor to form the management team for this fund, so that every penny will be accounted for, and anybody can find out what the balance is. As at now, nothing has been taken out to make sure that that fund is managed properly. So it's for UK, and Spain will have their own, France will have their own, Germany will have their own, America, Canada, and so on and so forth will have their own. So this is for all to sensitize and to run your central office, your secretariat in your country, so that when your secretariat who are running there, the government of that country will know you, the communities in that country will know you, and the more they know us, the better it will be for them to recognize us as a nation. That is the thinking. So, Baba, if you are still there, thank you very much. And for today, yes. So, thank you, sir. Yes, you can carry on, please, quickly, so that we can take some questions. And we have to hear the status of our situation at Ekiti and Oshun. We also want to know the status of our situation with 5 million signatures. So both our leaders, Dr. Oni and Sister Buki, are with us to give us updates. And we need these updates to carry on. And then Baba has said that we will come back after Easter. So please, this is part 1. We will expect part 2. God bless you. Carry on, Honorable Femi Oshinubi. Meanwhile, Honorable Femi Oshinubi is the leader of the Yoruba Central Office in America. She is the Executive Council Chief Officer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Professor Kitoye, for coming. I know it's late at your end, so thank you for coming and honoring us today. We're introducing Mindset Change Program, as I said. And the reasons why we need to introduce this Mindset Change Program is that we need to learn how to make this viable seed of ours thrive. So we will go into the next slide. Where did we go wrong as a people? We've heard a lot from Abajala, from lots of books, and Professor Kitoye has also mentioned quite a lot of everything. So the fact is, how if we do the same thing as we have done in the past decades, where we are now in Nigeria, if we continue to do things like that over and over, and we expect a different results, we all know what. So we need to change our thinking. We need to change our ideas. We need to change our beliefs. In other words, we need mindsets. And there are a lot of things we need to change our mind. Most importantly, we need to identity who we are as Yoruba speaking people. So there are 2 major stages of mindset in this program. The first stage is unaware, asleep, not conscious. And the second stage is aware, awake, and conscious. And these stages, they have a weight, they have a sense of measure. The sense of measure is the truth. When you bring the truth to either of these 2 stages, does it mind being questioned? If it does, then we need to re-examine. The unaware, asleep, or not conscious stage is also influenced by good moral values or no moral values because of the degradation of our sense of values in our community as of today. Of course, the person that has good moral values is preferred to the person that doesn't have good moral values. However, both can be equally dangerous when they are both asleep. And this picture there says it. The forest was shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe. But the axe was clever and convinced the trees that because its handle was made of wood, it was one of them. I guess that says that all. So the person that is aware, awake, is conscious, usually they have a growth mindset, or would prefer that the person has a growth mindset. And the growth mindset is when you're awake, you're awake. But like when we're waking up from sleep, sometimes some people wake up and they're at lack instantly. So some people need to go through stages of they're lethargic, they need to drink a coffee to get themselves together. So this is also similar in the mindset change program. So the 4 phases, but the fact that you've moved up to one phase doesn't mean that you stayed there. You have to constantly work on yourself, otherwise you go back to the other stage. So I want to mention that. And these are the 4 stages. The person, you can be awake and apathetic, or awake and lethargic. You can be awake and resist or resistant. You can be awake and organized. You can be awake and liberating. Awake and lethargic or apathetic. This person is usually nonchalant. Sometimes the person is scared. They wake up like, oh gosh, this is happening. I can't believe it. And sometimes it's fear. Sometimes they're not really bothered. It doesn't affect me personally, so I'm not going to interfere. And these people, one of the stuff I put up there said that the path to the Holocaust, the Auschwitz, was paved with indifference. So, yeah, it's a very dangerous stage. They were apathetic. Also, here, the limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. As long as the people they are oppressing are okay with it, the tyrants have a free lunch. And here, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So awake and resistance, at this stage, the people are really upset. They are hungry. And anger is a good emotion, but it needs to be channeled. In their anger, they are in the fighting mode. They are perceived to be rude, belligerent, disruptive. And the example I can think of now is the Moses, when he was upset that the Israelites were being maltreated and he killed one of the Egyptians. So that is usually the stage of the person that is awake and is resistant. Then it moves on to awake and organized, which is where we are now, everybody on this forum. We are coming together and say, what can we do to change what is happening? We're getting more focused. And awake and liberating, this is where Professor Akitoye is and all our elders, they are beacons of light. They have seen the promised land, and they want us to see it. And they're not saying they've seen the promised land, they want us all to get there. Nobody will be left behind. So how does mindset change help us? It's like we need to learn from history. What has history taught us? And how can we make a change from what has happened so far? And I would say this. It says, I have traveled across the length and breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one person with a beggar, with a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such caliber. And I want to stop there. And this is by describing Yoruba people. Can we say we are there? This is where somebody saw Africans and had the description of Africans. That there was no one beggar, there was not a thief. Of course, the person is in dispute. But it just paints a picture of how Africa was. That we have such wealth, and we have such high moral values. We have such high caliber. And our backbones, our spiritual heritage, our cultural heritage, we need to go back and revisit that. Our mindset change will help us to reverse and repair the damage to our self-esteem, our native culture, and our moral values. And this picture says it all. And at this point, I will hand over to the person who is taking the next couple of slides. Honorable Femi Oshinobi is also working with us in the USA as our he's one of our officials in the US, and also one of the people on the team. We are working with a team of over 8 minds that worked on this project. So I want to acknowledge that, and I'll be handing over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hayo. And I want to say thank you to everybody. Dr. Okebion, thank you for your mentorship. So folks, as Dr. Hayo said, we worked on the mindset change program for 7 months. So this is a culmination of the work we did for 7 months. And during those months, we identified 39 areas where we thought Yoruba as a people should change their mindset. What we've done in today's presentation is to summarize those 39 areas into 3 bullet points that we'll share with this group, in this meeting today. Now, I want to start with a popular quote that the biggest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Now, once the oppressed begin to work on their mind, freedom is around the corner. To buttress that point, I want to tell a little story that came up over and over again during the course of our 7-month work on mindset change. It is the story of the Jews. Once upon a time, the Jews used to be an oppressed, set of people, marginalized. What did they do? They invested a lot in organizing themselves, in knowledge, in things that made the glory of the Jews shine to the entire world. Now, years later today, where are the Jews? In the United States of America, if you go to many of the very successful organizations, many of the very popular schools, many of the popular institutions here, you'll see the Jews doing excellent things. How did they get there? So I think with that story and context, I want to go into the areas where we've identified as key areas for mindset change for us Yoruba people. Number 1 is our identity. Now, Pastor Okebion said this earlier, that only 8% of the world know Yoruba. This is a research-driven figure. There was a research carried out to even ask people, do you know who the Yoruba people are? And there was all sort of interesting responses. From that, we gathered the data and saw that only 8% of the world Yoruba. Now, that's an interesting figure, considering our talent, our God-given talent, our capabilities, our industrious nature. I think that is something that we want to change. Because to Dr. Okebion's point earlier, if people do not know us, how do they want to recognize us and give us what we're asking from the Committee of Nations? So we want to change that. Now, let me talk a little bit about our identity. Our identity has been on the decline since the amalgamation with Nigeria. Over years, time and time again, we just see that identity declining. When I was growing up in Nigeria, there were things about hard work. When I was young, we would sing songs like Iṣẹ́ lóògùn iṣẹ́, múra sí iṣẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi, iṣẹ́ la fi ń dẹni gíga, bí a kò bá rẹ́ni fẹ̀yìntì, ààrẹ ẹni gbẹ́kẹ̀lé, bí a kò bá rẹ́ni gbẹ́kẹ̀lé, àtẹramọ́ṣẹ́ ẹni, ìyá rẹ̀ ni. We will go on and on, imbibing the culture of hard work in us, that there was no shortcut to success. It is hard work. It is believe in yourself. Àwọn ẹ̀yin àgbà yìí, bàbá mi, màmá mi, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, àbúrò ẹni, àtẹ́lẹ̀ ọwọ́ ẹni kì í tán ní jẹ. That is what we grew up to learn when we were growing up in Nigeria. In today's Nigeria, even amongst our people, you will see people celebrating ill-gotten wealth that has no basis, no source, no story around it, no story about the work of any kind, any type. Now, talk about decadence. Our people we've gone from a home, from people who, during the days of Western region, and Professor Akitoye and all our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, sisters then did excellent work to the admiration of the world. People all over the world were applauding the innovation in the days of Western region then. We've gone from that set of people in Western region of those days to a people where today Yoruba in Southwest Nigeria are struggling to get 2 square meals a day. Our people now ration meals 010, 100, 001, all sorts. Now, how do we expect innovation to come from people who are just thinking about meal, or even how to remain safe and not be attacked and killed? But I think the good news is help is on the way. Now, in the past, once I pay any Yoruba, and that is why we are in this gathering today, doing all the great things that the central office is doing, and what you call. Now, the next step is to spread the message to the rest of the world, wherever we are, and tell people that it is time for Yoruba people to take our rightful place in the community of races and community of people all over the world. So, second thing I want to talk about as area where we want to change our mindset is excellence as a way of life. Excellence as a way of life. To buttress this point, I want to talk about how the Jews invested in knowledge and became so powerful. So if we call a meeting of the Jews today, like gathering of the Jews, and we get on a meeting like this, and we say, okay, maybe Baba Akitoye says, okay, your mommy, we need Yoruba banks all over the world. You will hear the Jews or anything at all, be it innovation in technology. What you'll find out when you call Jews together, a gathering of like 100 people, is that there will be one person that owns a company who is doing driverless cars. There will be one person that owns a big internet company and is mentoring the next generation of Jews on how to run those internet companies. They've so organized themselves. If you see a Jew come to, say, United States for the first day today, the first place they will go is their synagogue, where they will show them the way. This is how to do this, this is how to do that, this is how to do this, this is how to do that. They have so much organized themselves, and they have imbibed that spirit of excellence as a way of life in all ramifications, be it academics, anything, name it. So I think when we also begin to look like there are some areas that we identified under excellence as a way of life, continuous learning. There's this, there will be talk about, sometimes we Yoruba, we say, honestly, amongst the Jews, the way I've seen it is not like that. In the cafe, organize our Jew and get more powerful. So I want those kind of attitude, approach to pursuit of excellence are the things that we need to start not just imbibing as Yoruba people, but messages to our people all over the world. Difficult there, and we have some plans around tailor messages for different categories of Yoruba around the world. Now, the third area to identify is quality leadership and management. So in these areas, we've been very, very lucky because God has blessed us with people like Baba Kitoye, Baba Faweli, all our fathers, Baba Ajala, all our fathers, Dr. Okibron, all our fathers, our mothers, our brothers and sisters that have shown us example. They've become beacon of light to the Yoruba race. So they've done so much work that we can leverage as a people. There's a popular quote that says, I see so far because I stand on the shoulders of giants. These people are our giants. They've done so much work and we can stand on their shoulders and project the Yoruba people to glory within a few years. And honestly, I mean it's within a few years. So when we talk about quality leadership as well, we want to talk about how do people even select or elect leaders? So just for a moment, let's imagine a world where Yoruba people are being governed by somebody who loves Yoruba people as much as Professor Aktoye does. Let's just think about that. Because here is Baba that has done so much, sometimes at the, risk of he said a lot, risk to his life sometimes. And I know that will come. We look for leaders who exemplify those great qualities. Now, the other thing I wanted to say in terms of leadership is also for us on this call, we are the champions. We are the champions. We are the champions that will become that beacon of hope to Yoruba people all over the world, wherever we may be. So let's get ready. Baba Akintoye, all our Baba, our Mama, our they've done a lot. We've seen it. I mean, we just need to take it from there, continue to learn and work with them, and spread this message all over the world, so that as we change our mindset in these areas, on our core identity, on excellence as a way of life, on quality leadership and management, we will get ready to let the glory of Yoruba people shine to all the world. And I'm confident that as we do this, honestly, we don't need to fight any war before we get what belongs to us. The only war we need to fight is in our mind, is an intellectual war. When we were growing up, there were so many things that in Mama Ogbon ju agbára lọ. We are Yorubas. We are Yoruba. Ogbon ju agbára lọ lóòótọ́. So Bashir organized Arawa, just like the Jew, have become a force to reckon with all over the world. When we get to that point, which I strongly believe we will, with all the work that has been done, when we get to that point, the countries that matter in the whole world will come and negotiate with us. And in that process, we will get what we want. And I'm sure that we are very close. Day after day, I'm getting convinced more and more that we are almost there. So with that, video about skip here for now in the interest of time. With that, I think we want to say Isheti Yao Mo Yoruba, wherever we are around the world. This is the call to action. With the launch of the Mindset Change Program, these are the areas some identify. Our project that is paper, we wrote a white paper on this, on mindset change, where we elaborated a lot, but all of that we try to summarize here. Now, the call to action from Gogowa on the call is, please, with the launch of the Mindset Change Program, share logo and the message with people in your area, Nile local, anywhere, around the world. Ipe Yoruba, or Koniwa, Ejekabere, vision báwo làwa náà ṣe máa wà ní leading places in terms of frontier of knowledge, in terms of pé okay a ní company ńlá tó ń ṣe innovate. Tẹ́ bá wà àwọn Jew tó bá ní company, tẹ́ bá dé àwọn company yẹn, tẹ́ bá àwọn tó ṣiṣẹ́ fún wọn, ẹ bá ọmọ Yorùbá ń bẹ̀ tó ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀. Kí ló wá dé tí àwa ò lè jẹ́ ẹni tó ràn àwọn company yẹn? Tá bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣògbó yẹn, the whole world will know us. Tá dẹ̀ tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí organize ara ní àwọn ìlú tàwa tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí mọ̀ wá. Tó bá yá láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà wá pè wá ní kí ẹ̀yin Yorùbá kí ni ẹ fẹ́ because wọ́n ti bá náà ti di forced to reckon. So ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ share logo, ẹ share message. Now global media outreach nílé lóko níbi tá bá wà. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ gbogbo àwọn ẹni tẹ́ bá lè share message pẹ̀lú nílé ní diaspora ni wípé ẹ ṣàjẹ́ change start from the mind. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé a ti get nǹkan tá fẹ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ṣe bí the beacon of hope, the glory of the black race. And with that, in no time, the whole world Mariwa as the glory of the black race. So I share a message on internet, then teachings and projects. Ní gbogbo àwọn diaspora offices wa, àwọn project tá bá lè ṣe, àwọn nǹkan tá bá lè sọ through word of mouth, ká pa àwọn èèyàn ọjọ́ ká sọ fún wọn. Wípé àwọn kan ti ṣerú àwọn nǹkan tá fẹ́ ṣe, Yorùbá dẹ̀ ṣe lélẹ́yìí o, but it become powerful all over the world. Ilé ẹjẹ́ ká máa organize ká máa support ara wa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Through WhatsApp groups, songs, writing, everything we can do. Now, in the fourth point here, how do we even tailor our messages? By outreach, how do we tailor our messages for our audience? Now, that time sorrow, ni time share my searching program, time called white paper, identify I need to tailor message to my former Oduman, call my phone 40 years. Because their preferences differ. The Omoduman is still in the formative stage. Check out on la she found when you enter video. I be showing you laugh if you call one out on Kotama call one you wrote into Mokoelia, our call Ibatan Dagba. So occupation no, and when you're wanile Yaloja about like my approach one, about like my approach teacher, about like my approach lawyer, and all that educational levels. But when you can factor in then ethnic groups. Báwo la ṣe máa mẹ́sẹ̀gì mindset change program tá máa sọ fún bàbá ìgbà ìyá ìgbà lédè wọn tá máa frame ẹ̀ in a way tí kò ní share anybody tó máa jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn wá rí bí nǹkan táwọn ènìyàn sọ òótọ́ máa dẹ̀ ni o ẹ jẹ́ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí embrace ẹ̀. Then male female ọkùnrin obìnrin báwo la máa tell your messages wa. So that is the call to action for us people. With this, I want to say thank you and I want to say very excited about the launch of the Mindset Change Program today and looking forward to working together to make the glory of the Yoruba race shine to the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Honorable Ayo and Dr. Honorable Oshinobi. Apparently, that's a family. That's the man with the woman, their husband and wife, doing work for Yoruba people. Like you said, we've been on this for a while. There's a lot to military economy. That's just summary. We share log. We've done a lot of analysis in terms of demographics, in terms of culture, in terms of religion. How do you communicate to Christian? How do you communicate to Muslims? How do you communicate to Nisheche? Ages, I break our ages down from 5 to 8, from 8 to working class, elderly people. How do you approach them? Country to country, different languages. That analysis is still on what to do with these people. So the program is ready. The training we start, we'll be calling training. Teach your people. Let us tell them. The mindset of assuming mindset around about that pay up to 60, 70, one in law school, PSC, 75. You may not understand why, but 1 point you can give at 76 can change the whole world. One direction, one direction. That's why you see some of our fathers are leaders, they are still into this. They are over 70. Baba Alex Ajala is over 70. Baba Bashegun is over 70. 1 point they will still give can change the whole life. But that is not the kind of mindset that we want to carry forward. Mindset I want to say in 1 year. Mindset I want to we want mindset I want to advance. You have to be advanced to be able to carry people to be advanced. Anyway, we'll be getting more of this in the coming week. Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ agbo pátápátá mọ̀ ká ní fún gbogbo àtàlẹ́ láti lọ discuss and then a ní àwọn bàbá wa Báṣegùn the leader of Ìlànà Oòduà wọ́n wà níbí but bàbá Maxwell Adélẹ́yẹ I'm going to go back to him àwọn ló máa ṣe àwọn ọmọ máa ṣàlàyé fún wa bàbá sọ fún wa ní dánilójú pé wọ́n máa padà wá so àdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn tó bá di after Easter 2 weeks time màá béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn tó bá wà available 14 days time wọ́n á wà ń bí there's nothing on Sunday on Easter Sunday it's either 14 days time or 21 days time wọ́n máa wà ń bí mọ́mí wa náà Barrister Dr. Fashake torí pé wọ́n tún ní àwọn engagement kan wọ́n ti plan ní pé ó máa wà earlier wọ́n á dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé bí ó ṣe lọ lélẹ́yìí you need to have to really grind these things home so wọ́n máa wá again pẹ̀lú àwọn bàbá so when 14 days time or 3 weeks time you know whichever one it is they want to finally go ahead àti wọn bàbá sọ wọn go ahead we will be back bàbá wa Maxwell Adélẹ́yẹ náà will be back just as you have said this will be part 1 of the whole lecture then part 2 ìmọ̀ ni o aláti kún fún ìmọ̀ kò la fi change mindset pàṣípàlẹ ní ó máa affect wa ní ilé wa ó máa affect wa níbi iṣẹ́ wa ó máa affect ayé wa fún ara wa ó máa affect Yorùbá ó máa affect orílẹ̀-èdè wa mind wa láti change kúrò ní òkú kókó dára yìí kó lẹ́yìn tó wà lẹ́yìn tó wà níwájú ní ṣe máa ṣe ń ṣe ní 1910 1920 1930 not even 1960 1970 everybody do ní 2022 by we're in the 21st century so we have to move forward you know thank you very much Baba Maxwell are you there sir? Hello. Maxwell Adélẹ́yẹ, okay, if you're not there, you can pay Baba Dr. Olúṣọlá òde wọ́n máa fún wa ní update nípa ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Èkìtì àti Ọ̀ṣun. Àmọ́ pé wọ́n ti gbígbèsè bẹ́ẹ̀ about so many times lórí social media. So opportunity wà fún wọn for about 10-15 minutes. Wọ́n fún wa ní update. Àbádẹ́ ní ìbéèrè, àbẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹjọ jẹ ká tá lọ sókè a máa pè wá tá bá parí ohun gbogbo táwọn àdé máa dá wa lóhùn béèrè wa one by one. Baba Báṣegùn sir, nice to have you with us. God bless you. On mute sir.
Hello. Thank you very much indeed. If you permit me, I'm going to start by making some comments on the mindset change. Because there were a lot of references to the Jews. And as everything was going on, I kept writing. And one of the things that I wrote down was this: why are the Jews successful? Why? And I put down two reasons. The first one is that the Jews know their origin. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that they know of their forefathers. The Jews are successful. And because of that, I'm going to now, although I'm asked to talk about something else, I want to talk about this mindset change to 5 minutes or whatever. So the first question is this: what is the origin of the Yorubas? We do know our origin. People call it myths, and because a lot of within 1914, the myth of our origin has been forgotten. And I tell you, we Yorubas have been occupying the land we are in now from time immemorial. Beginning was that there was this guy, those of us who had the fortune of growing in the village, you hear these sort of stories that your grandparents told you. There was the sky, and there was water below. Oru Atio. Water then came from heaven to the earth, to the water with from the planet. That was how the earth was formed. That's how the earth was created. And there's actually archaeological support for this myth. So the myth of the Yoruba, so all these people who've been telling us we came from the East, we are the children of Lamuru, and our own forefathers have taken Yoruba land from time immemorial. And we have Yorubas were the first human beings to transition from hunter-gatherers to farming. Awala kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ farming from where it then spread. Again, there's archaeological support for this sort of thing. The transition from farming required man to develop the means of transforming the chemistry of metal. Our forefathers did that because they couldn't make the equipment for farming if you didn't know a little bit about the chemistry of metal. That's how they created all sculptures that you see in various museums around the world. And what is also important, the established urban centers, àwa Yorùbá àti ń gbé nílùú. In fact, in 1931, populations tried to see the percentage of Yoruba people living in large urban areas was comparable to European nations. He calculated the index of urbanization, and that it was between that of the USA and Canada. In this calculation, the distribution of population in Yoruba urban centers was comparable to that of France. We are talking about Yoruba land for you. As far back as the 1930s, the population density of Lagos was 58,000 per square mile, whilst that of Ogbomoso was 43,000 people per square mile. So our team made urban centers for a long time. And the urbanization of
hold on, go on, sir. You have muted yourself. Yeah, mute. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me look for mute.
Okay,
you touched the screen. You touched the screen.
Too much. Trying to say here is this: that we have comparative history that we need to start talking about when we are about our origin. Like I've just said, instead of all these people telling us we came from this, we came from the, I have been fortunate. I've been attending a course on economic history of Africa from the Wheeler Institute. It's a Zoom kind of thing it's been going on for nearly 10 weeks now. And on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I've been attending it. And it's an eye-opener, really, to learn how good things were with us. And I'm going to talk briefly, before I talk about what you wanted me to talk about, region, I'm going to talk about the Yoruba Constitution. The Yoruba and the British share a common constitution. Most people don't realize that. Right. The job of the monarch was to rule. That is, why it is decided, he is the mouthpiece. It wasn't, that's all the Yoruba was. The actual ruling was done by Awoloye. They were the people who actually governed. And it's exactly the same as in Britain. The British call their own constitutional Oba, constitutional monarchy. I call our own constitutional Oba. It's exactly the same thing. Their own council. Can't bear parliament in Mosoyo. In the past, like the Oloye, Bawa Timashu, There were people you call noblemen. That was governing the city-state, and the Council of Oloye that was doing the ruling. Just like the British had the Council of Noblemen. The difference, what happened was this, that in the English or the British monarchs looked at themselves as rivals. So they fought each other, they killed each other until one of them was left standing. It was different in Yoruba land. The Yoruba Obas of those days regarded themselves as brothers, not as rivals, but as brothers. So they formed what you would call a coalition, a confederation. That's how it was in those days. So when we are talking about changing our mindset, this is where we need to start. We need to tell ourselves that we had a history before the Europeans came. We know that the world began here in Yoruba land. Just like everybody else might say, the world began in, just like the Jews. Instead of all these people telling us we came from somewhere and the other. When archaeologically, we know that we were always here. We didn't come from anywhere else. We also need to tell our people that the Yorubas were great people. We had our own laws. I wrote a book on the practice of law in ancient Yoruba. We had our own laws. We had our own practice of medicine. And our own practice of medicine was different from what the Chinese or the Indians were practicing. Their practice was the yin and yang and flowing here and flowing there. The Yorubas knew about pathology, that it was kokoro that caused disease, not yin and yang, not all this nonsense. We knew all that. In other words, the practice of medicine of the Yoruba was similar to the practice of we introduced vaccination to the world because we knew that if you had smallpox, if you took a scalp from somebody with smallpox and you put it on a scalp, the next person doesn't get smallpox. We might not know the actual explanation, but we knew that it worked. These are the sort of things we need to be teaching ourselves. That is what mindset change is. We need to now let ourselves know that we were descendants of very, very clever people, very, very intelligent people. We didn't just grow Opolo out of the tree. Our genetic inheritance. It is our genetic. So we have a lot to thank our forefathers for. And we don't need to apologize to anybody whatsoever. We don't need, the sort of thing that gets me irritated is people who claim, for example, that we had our own alphabet. It's rubbish. We never had any alphabet. We didn't write. The Yorubas never wrote. But what the Yorubas did was the next best thing. The Yorubas embedded in their words information. So, for example, my name is Olushola. It means something. And that is how the Yorubas embedded information in their names, embedded information in their words, which was similar to writing. That's the sort of thing we need to go back to. Instead of pretending that we are this, that, the other. Our forefathers had things, apart from science, there's nothing that anybody can say that we Yorubas have not done, whether it's philosophy, whether it's law, whether it's economics. I'm actually writing an essay now on what I call Yoru economics, the economics that our forefathers were practicing that allowed them to have full employment. The Yorubas never had women as housewives. Women worked, men worked. It was full employment. These are the things that we need to go back to ask, did they do it that they have full employment? Like the clip that was shown, I can't remember this baron or baron something who was, I think he was in the House of Lords when he was saying he never met any poor people in Africa and so on and so forth. I've tweeted that picture so many times. You know, who was saying Africa, I didn't find anybody who was poor and so on and so forth. Because our system of economics was not socialism, capitalist. No, we all means of production, every aspect of economy was privately owned. The people who transformed their food into a lubo, transformed their food into gari, so are the women. It was privately owned as well. So somebody is coming to us and telling us parliamentary democracy is rubbish. We were doing things before. We governed ourselves before. Tell us best is to be socialist. Rubbish. We had our own, and the time has come for us to go to those things, to examine it. If teaching them, I'm not saying that because I'm a Yoruba traditionalist, which I am. I'm a Yoruban, I am. As somebody who has been looking at the Yoruba thing, because we had fantastic forefathers. We had that's part of the reasons why even those who are taken as slaves from here, down North America, they didn't forget that that's the practicing the same thing. What Nigeria has to attempt to destroy everything that we had. But Nigeria has not succeeded. Almost every Yoruba man knows the constitution of the Yoruba, that we have the Oba, we have the Louis. So what constitutional monarchy is? It's not a deal. The constitution of England, of Britain is all written. I don't know, so please, if all you can take away from this mindset change is what I'm just talking about, is to ask the question, why were the Jews successful? Which I've written down here. Is that they know their origins. We need to know our origins. And we also need to know that we were great people. That we were great people. That we were brilliant people. I'm sorry that I digress. My apologies for digressing. So the question that I think was that Dr. Okobiyan was putting to me was to give you some updates on the Osun-Ekiti court case. I think I'm going to start again like this. I'm going to start by saying this, that Nigeria's politicians, and most of us, we acknowledge that the 1999 Constitution is a fraud. You know, it was a military decree. It was a military decree, Decree 24, number 24, which Abdul Salami promulgated on the 5th of May 1999. That's what it was. What is important here is this. What we need to know is this. That Abdul knew that his decree could only have the force of law under a civilian government if the people approved of it. He knew it. That's why he wrote, "We the people." And that's what makes the 1999 Constitution a fraud, a misrepresentation. Because he knew, Abdul Salami knew that the people had to sanction what he wrote. But instead of asking the people, instead of a referendum, he faked it. He faked it by writing, "We the people." This is misrepresentation. This is fraud, because the people never ratified the constitution that he wrote. No ratification means that the 1999 document purporting to be Nigeria's constitution is invalid, is null and void, it has no legal force. That's what it means. No ratification means that Nigeria, as we speak today, has no constitution. And that's the point of going to court. Because no constitution means no constitution means no legitimate government. No constitution means no valid election rules. The Ekiti and Osun cases directly challenge the legitimacy of elections held under the fraudulent 1999 constitution. Where we have been clear is that this was brought by Ilana. Is Ilana's case. No, what we did was this. We asked the voters. They had the right, the local standard, to go to court. They had the right to go to court to say, our right to vote is being violated, is being infringed if you ask us to vote under a constitution that is fraudulent. That's what the case is all about. That is, the voters themselves are saying, we do not want to have this election because the constitution under which the election is holding is fraudulent. And that is what makes this case very tricky, because the government now has to go to court and say exactly why the 1999 constitution is legal. Now, there are three things that we at Ilana UK were asked to do by the Ilana Omodua Worldwide. We're doing this on behalf of Ilana Worldwide, and they asked us to do three things. They asked us to that is Ilana UK, they asked us to handle the case on behalf of Ilana Omodua Worldwide, which we are doing. They asked us to raise the needed funds, so we are raising the funds. And they asked us to work with the lawyers, and we are working with the lawyers. And what has happened so far? On the 15th of March of this year, the lawyer successfully filed the cases in Osogbo Federal High Court and Ado-Ekiti Federal High Court. The next stage is that on the 14th of April, on the 13th of April this month, in 2 weeks' time or thereabout, they'll be hearing at the Osogbo Federal High Court. And on the 28th of April, which is 4 weeks from now, the case in Ekiti will also be heard. In other words, this is not where and there's going to be a hearing. So that everybody's been saying, one fellow. This is no longer a question of one fellow. At the law, we are there. We have now challenged, rather the voters are now challenging the federal government and the INEC to explain in court before, not just Nigeria, before the international community, why the 1999 constitution is not a fraud. Now, in terms of the money, this is where I like to tell everybody that this case is not just Ilana case. This case is Yoruba case. This is a public interest litigation. We are all interested in what happens with the 1999 constitution. As I tell people, when we win the case, Yoruba land nítorí pé ìlànà ló gbé case lọ. It is all our case. It is a Yoruba case. It is probably the biggest, the most important action that the Yorubas have taken since 1888, when Alaafin signed a treaty with Queen Victoria. We cannot afford to fail. And we need to succeed. We need money. We have to pay the lawyers. We cannot just say, lawyer, we also have to publicize the case itself. So we do need funds. We do need funds. And that's part of the things that we are doing. I don't know whether I'm allowed to give you our account number, but in case you have a pen, to do it anyway, because
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. When you are, this is Yoruba Central Office. This is Yoruba Central Office, and we support all Yoruba, education or dialect, whatever.
I know.
And this project is all for Yoruba. It's not for Modua, and it's not for Lano Dua.
Exactly.
Even if you say so, you're only manager. You're only project manager.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if you want to raise funds for that project, that's a project funding, and
thank you very much.
What we are doing in Yoruba Central Office is different. It's core funding. That is for our services, our service delivery. But we can also raise that funds for you anyway as a project funding.
Thank you very much.
That's right. So that one will start and have an end. Yoruba Central Office goes on forever.
Okay. The account number is Lloyd's Bank.
Put it on the chart.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. Before I finish, and I'm not saying this because Dr. Okebiorus is there, but I'm going to say this.
Okay. Somebody put it there.
Which I have. Somebody's put it already.
Yeah, for me.
Oh, yes.
It is as follows. Ilana UK Limited. Yes, sort code 309897. Account number 69579562. Lloyd's Bank.
That's it.
Yes, please. We support all Egbe Yoruba. That is what the central office is for.
Thank you.
4 categories of our services are Omo Yoruba, Egbe Yoruba, Yoruba community, and Yoruba nation. So this falls under Yoruba nation, please. Yes.
I was going to say this, and I'm not.
There's another person who are going to hold responsible. YNN, Sister Kuki Taiwo. I'm holding responsible on what is happening back home.
I'm just going to finish with something that I tweeted earlier today, actually this afternoon, and this is what I wrote on the Twitter. I said, this is talking about the Fulani. The weapon for the Fulanization of Nigeria was not by force, but by using of the Constitution. It is not by accident that all of Nigeria's constitutions since 1966, when Northern Army officers were in power. The Gawan regime taught them how easy it was to manipulate Nigeria's constitution without upsetting the gullible Southern elites and politicians. With each coup, and Northern Army officers state 7 of them, the Fulani upgraded the constitution to consolidate their hegemony and power. The 1999 constitution upgrade was the culmination of a long, slow, and methodical process crafted over 34 years. It was Buhari's ineptitude and haste that gave him away. So in fact, when people they've been doing all sorts of distractions to take our focus off from the 1999 Constitution. We must not let them do that to us. We must not lose focus that we must destroy the 1999 Constitution.
Benny.
Don't let us lose any focus.
Benny, it has to be destroyed.
They're going to amend this. You cannot amend a fraud.
Yeah.
You cannot amend a misrepresentation.
Definitely.
Don't let us get ourselves involved in any of that at all.
Definitely.
Let us focus on the complete destruction of the 1999 Constitution. They will do all sorts of things. And people talk about how they are powerful. So, the Fulani cannot win a war against the Yoruba, and they know it. They are not going to go to war. And if we declare Yoruba nation today, what are they going to do? Nothing. And all these, they say the Fulani are here. When we have our own nation, we decide the citizens who are going to be in Yoruba land. So anybody who's hiding in the forest or whatever, you'll have to pack your bag and go back to where you came from. Because once we have our own country, we have the power to admit and expel anybody we like.
That's it.
So don't let these people, the tactics of bullies is to make you fear that there is something they can do.
That's it. That's it.
There's nothing they can do to stop Yoruba nation going.
That's it.
It is our entitlement. We can do what we like with our right.
That's it.
It's our right to be a country of our own.
Oh, Baba.
It is a right that is recognized in international law. It is a right that is recognized in the African Charter. It is a right that is recognized in Nigerian law since 1983. So, there is something somewhere that we have to be afraid of. There is nothing for us to be afraid of. We can declare Yoruba nation today, and there is nothing they can do about it.
That's it.
Nothing. They can hide in the bush. They can do whatever it is.
They can be in Aso Rock.
Declare our own country is the day we expel the whole bloody lot of them.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Maxwell is back.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Bachegun, for the wonderful presentation. I would like to buttress him on the Ado and Oshobo case. When we started this the journey, he has said it all. He came from a different background, different from the self-determination stuff. So Bachegun was very new, and plenty of time we had to tango, we had to fight. But I must commend his passion. I must commend his commitment. Take it away from me. Left to many of our people that wouldn't have been that would be in Ado and Osun Federal High Court. But his leadership and dedication and tenacity kept us, and I want to thank you, Bachegun, for making yourself available for this historic battle. Like someone wrote on the chat, Fulani, who some of our people see as a friend of the people in power. I think argued or opined, Fulani, who some of our people see as a friend of. Okay, said again that that Fulani, said there is no, Nigeria does not have a constitution. The voice of reason. Even our people in Dinas, this is a general. If you don't have a constitution now, we have now decided to summon the courage to go and challenge. Fulani called Professor Akitoye last week or so. He said he doesn't know. He's still waiting for how the Supreme Court of Nigeria will dismiss our case. That he doesn't. There is no way the Supreme Court of Nigeria will dismiss our case. So I think we should congratulate ourselves in Embryo and hope that this leads to the emergence. This leads to the emergence of the nation we have long aspired for. So I think we are going to the end of the program. So I want Dr. Koikimedia to take charge. This is almost 11:30 p.m. in Nigeria. So Dr. Koikimedia, we have to step aside for you, sir, to continue with the.
We are almost done. Just a few questions to ask, but before then, I want to give Sister Buki, if she's in, to let us know what is the status of the. Yeah, Sister Buki. You are in. Can you hear? Can you unmute, please? What is happening with our 5 million vote?
Once again, you're watching a live transmission. Today is the 3rd of April 2022 at exactly 17 minutes past 11 p.m. as we continue to demand a self-determination, dissolution, disintegration, a breakaway from that contraction called Nigeria. My name is Olami Koike, and this is Yoruba Central Office.
Hands still up. Can we take those ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah? Berry. And the first one on top here is Galaxy
country.
A12.
It is not working. End Nigeria and save lives. So many Yoruba people are living in abject poverty.
Please?
Mad country all over the place.
Galaxy A12. Unmute. You asked your question.
We
okay.
Don't have anything to do with that nonsense.
You're not there, Shegmo Olaoye. Can you unmute? Shegmo Olaoye, can you unmute? Okay. If you are not there, we'll go to. Oh, okay. Is there? What happened again? Anyway, he'll be back to mute. All right, let's go to Toyin Sholari, JP. Yes, ma'am.
Akúkú ṣàṣeyọrí láṣẹ Elédùmarè. Ní ọwọ́ ọ̀sán yìí ní àwọn platform kan náà tí mo wà, oríṣiríṣi ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní jáde ńsìn lórí ọ̀rọ̀ wípé Fulani agenda. Ẹni tó bá wà nínú àwọn platform tí mo sọ á rí nǹkan tí wọ́n kọ tí Wide and Juma tó kọ. So ìyẹn fi ń hàn wá wípé Nigeria is coming to a halt. Ọlọ́run adé ẹ̀bá wa mo wá sí halt láṣẹ Ọlọ́run. Gbọ́ ìbéèrè mi sì ni wípé òun ni àwọn dádì wa ṣé ń gbọ́ mi? Òun ni àwọn dádì wa òkè bí ọ̀run ti béèrè lẹ́ẹ̀kan wípé the 5 million signature wípé níbo ló dé. Àwọn lára nǹkan tí mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ béèrè náà ni àwọn dádì wa òní ni wọ́n ti fi tó wa létí lórí àṣeyọrí ìpèlẹ́jọ́ tí wọ́n pe orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà lórí 1999 constitution. So mi ò ní nǹkan rẹpẹtẹ tí mo fẹ́ béèrè mọ́ torí pé mo ti rí àwọn ìdáhùn díẹ̀ sí ìbéèrè mi. Ṣùgbọ́n èyí tí mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí jùlọ ni pé níbo ni 5 million yẹn níbo ló dé dúró, kí là ń ṣe láti rí wípé a dé ibi tá a fẹ́ dé yẹn láìpẹ́ láì jọ. Ẹ ṣé.
Ẹ ṣé máa nítorí ẹ̀ ni mo ṣe pé lórúkọ sísá wa àwọn náà ń ṣiṣẹ́ lórí yẹn directly Bukky Taiwo tabadà rẹ ni tó tún ní máa omijìwọ tabadà rẹ ni tó ní information lórí yẹn allow participants to unmute themselves ẹni tó bá ní ìmọ̀ lórí ẹ̀. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and say, I don't know directly how far. It's a different project, and I'm not a member of that project team. You know, so okay, group by group, handle projects more. Be one like education handle project T. We are a central office. So, really, this information I could do about if any update on where it's been. More come out for the Easter. So I need information. You know what's happening. Sister Bukky Taiwo, again, are you there? It's not there. Anyone knows anything about it? No. Or we wait, Baba, Dr. Uni, do you have any information? You can mute yourself.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n kàn fún yín ní update díẹ̀ lórí ẹ̀. Koiki ló ń sọ̀rọ̀.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. Go on, sir.
All I can say is we don't have a number to give yet, but we still continue to ask our people pé kó túbọ̀ máa gbìyànjú láti lọ sí àwọn villages wa, most especially, and a lot of àwọn èèyàn wa ti ń ṣe yẹn already. The petition is just another way of awareness, because kò sẹ́ni tó bá sọ̀rọ̀ petition fún wa láti ṣàlàyé kí nìdí tí a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí petition. Lára àwọn ìdí yẹn máa mú ọ̀rọ̀ tí bàbá Akíntóyè ti sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí títí dé àwọn bàbá wa Báṣegùn. So in terms of the numbers, from what in terms of one, at some point they will let us know ibitade, but nobody knows that at the moment. I encourage the question of where Facebook will allow it, I think is something that Báṣegùn and B Maxwell is here. You're listening. We need to write Facebook, however, to tell them that that petition is not a spam. So I would like each of the organization, even Yoruba Central Office, Dr. Kebiorun, this is a message make in the lati take it up so that we can write Facebook officially to let know that that particular link is not a spam. So táwọn èèyàn bá ń sọ pé Facebook ò gbà wọlé, kò ń ṣe pé link yẹn ò ṣiṣẹ́, we should not use that misinterpretation of it. The link is working independently away from Facebook. Facebook is just a social platform that does not want us to post those things. And it's not just our link. For the last 2 years, Teba type in Fulani, sorry, Facebook, you might be penalized by being blocked for a couple of days or months or weeks. That is by typing Fulani. So that means a lot of people have not been using the word Fulani. All these have been part of what, they are paying some of these social media platforms indirectly or directly, as a proxies. So, and I believe this is where our organization needs to make those efforts, especially to tackle, that particular petition that is not allowed to flow on the Facebook. But that does not mean the petition is not working. We are not very near to the 5 million, but what I can only say is, encourage some of them might say they need data. There's nothing we can do to that. Internet is expensive around the world. The only difference is, we are able to use it to sit here for 5, 3, 6 hours. I'm running about almost 7 devices here. It's not possible in Nigeria. So I want to feel we can give them data so that they can go out there and mobilize. But we are not saying that I want to one should take advantage of it. Sponsor this is a voluntary movement. Nobody is being paid. Tabade Betan law, like we always say on our on all the platforms. We were showing different countries around the world today. Ile Yoruba is already in danger. On Ogun State, completely not working, just as Maxwell was saying there. So that is where we are with the petition, and I'm just going to leave it like that. But like I said, if anybody's having any other problems, directly or indirectly with that petition, you can reach us to any one of the media, and then we can be able to resolve it as quickly as possible. But in terms of the numbers, I think we should just continue. I'm sure when the right time comes, those behind it will give us the total number where we are. Eshegoni.
Thank you, brother Koiki. Am I too low? Any company law me pay on need the help. Ni so I can fair kind of view, can you view on no project team transportation.
Oh yes. I mean, what we need to understand is
nobody should give anybody any money.
Well, Taban Sokwe, nobody to give. I think what we need to understand is that is what people. I mean, people are paying, for data, internet, for expecting people to send us, okay, or even send it to us. As of today, we have received about 2,000 names sent from Nigeria. If they don't have the internet, they cannot send it to us. They can easily collate it, but how do they send it to us? So, as much as, it's not like, anybody is being paid fully for it, but, there and there, we must support people. This is a movement, and every movement needs money, whether we like it or not, for different projects. Ilana wants to still go to court here in UK, they need money. Lagos, Ekiti, and Oshun, court case needs support. Central office needs support. So there's no way we cannot say that, money is not going to be involved. even the BRICS exit involved a lot of money. So if anybody can help, individually as a group, we are doing what we can do within our own means. And I guess so many people are doing the same thing as well around the world. The most important thing is that let us continue. We can make sure our people on the ground, we continue to mobilize them to go to different locations. And like I said, there's evidence-based that and I mean, we don't have to post all the videos. People are now going to the rural area. The next rural area is asking, and we have videos, evidence that we don't want to prove that on the social media. So, thank you
very much, sir. Central office will take it as a duty. There once a month, come and meet to know. I will call everybody to get update from yourself. Media to give this information to everybody. But I know, maybe some kind of a pep talk like this to ginger also capture family by family, one to call one. Really, I'm sure because our family is often long. I like to love vote to otherwise the master will send the whole saying. If you don't go and vote, I will not. Register. I will not send money to you. Yeah, especially your less. They might send the whole saying. Have somebody the ATM every month. So money call during a national what is not signed. Yeah, it is true. What's in dollar now? What's in your left in dollar long? What's in my pair? But I can one UK to my send the whole. Hello, sign because we can about live independent. So very good. So Baba Koiki, thank you very much. So eventually, any questions about your money? I think the next only flyer somebody called me. UK minimum £5. UK office one in UK. Country by country, no man, and so on and so forth. So Galaxy A12, are you back now? Galaxy A12, where you mean? Shagun A. Olaoye, have you spoken?
No.
Okay, you cannot mute. All right, go on, sir. What's your question?
The other time, like you unmute, now I'm about to unmute. So, nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí, ó dàbí ẹni pé Mr. Koiki ti touch part of it. Idea sọ àwọn tó mọ̀ mí, òkè bí ọ̀run kò sí, ẹ̀yin mọ̀ mí, ẹ mọ role tí mò ń play. Koiki náà mọ role tí mò ń play. So àwọn tíì mi wọ́n jáde, wọ́n gba àwọn orúkọ lọ́wọ́ àwọn tí a ní láti máa ṣe in support of these people is financial. Koiki to touch it, just like I said earlier. And the little I can do on my own, I've been doing it to support them. Mo kàn rọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa, whichever way tí wọ́n bá fi lè support àwọn èèyàn nílé tí wọ́n ready láti ṣe àwọn iṣẹ́ yìí tó kì í ṣe pé bóyá wọ́n ń bẹ̀ wọ́n, please, we need to give them financial assistance. It's very, very vital. That is that about that. I don't need to waste time on that. Àwọn kíní wà lẹ́nu ní mọ̀ bóyá mo mọ̀ yí pé ó wà recorded. Ǹjọ́ wà láti get copy lẹ̀? Any questions tí mo fẹ́ béèrè because ó ní àwọn views kan tí èèyàn lè lò fún láti jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn wá rí reason láti strive very, very hard to come out of that hopeless thing tí wọ́n pè ní Nigeria. So that is another question. That's a question for the house to answer. If we can get copies of the recorded lecture by the prof, if possible, I would be interested in getting the copy. And one suggestion I would want to bring is possible tí ó bá rí kọ́pì yìí tí Ọọ̀ni bá rí kọ́pì ẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá jókòó tí wọ́n bá lísìn sí lẹ́jọ́ yẹn dáadáa ní lídà Fúlàní tó whatever tó jẹ́ ní tí statement to make wípé of year now.
Progress.
Okay. Live streamed live.
Yeah, torí mo send message sí yín pé mo wà níbi iṣẹ́, so around 8:30 ni mo ṣe join yín.
Yes. Pẹ́pẹ́ náà fẹ́ wo láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ o méjì ọ̀tá bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ sórí Facebook, you can play it back lórí Koikimedia àti lórí YUKCO Olúwàbí Yorùbá.
Ẹ kálẹ́ o gbogbo lé.
Ẹlẹ́dàá.
A dúpẹ́ fún oore ọ̀fẹ́ tí Yorùbá ohun tó lórí gbogbo nǹkan kí nǹkan lórí gbogbo èrò tó wù kí gbogbo ènìyàn rò lórí ilẹ̀ wa ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìkan nínú àwọn àgbà wa. Kò sí ìlú tó máa gbógun tì wá, kò sí ìlú tó lè gbókó wọn, kò sí ìlú ká má ti wà ṣe mọ́. Kì í ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ìjà, kò sí ìyẹn ní ìkejì ni wípé a gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ kí àwa Yorùbá mọ̀ wípé ọ̀nà tí Ọlọ́run ń gbà ṣiṣẹ́ kò lè wá ti ṣe ẹwọ Dangote ẹwọ ọkọ tó ń kọ́ sẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ṣe fọmọ Fúlàní ni. Wọ́n ní gbogbo wàhálà tó máa ṣe ń jẹ́ iwájú Ọlọ́run ń lo àwọn ọ̀tá láti máa bá wa ṣe sílẹ̀. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé ilẹ̀ yẹn kì í ṣe ilẹ̀ tí wọ́n, ṣùgbọ́n torí nǹkan tí máa jẹ dọjú alẹ́ wọn tó dẹ̀ lórí ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ̀. Òun ní gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe tá à ń fojú rí, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ nu. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa sọ wípé Dákódé nìkan ló ń ta yẹ̀pẹ̀, òun nìkan ló ń ta ẹ sílẹ̀ fúngbà díẹ̀ ní gbogbo nǹkan. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa bínú, ẹ jẹ́ kí inú wa máa dùn pé kó máa kọ́ gbogbo nǹkan kí nǹkan tó bá dá sórí ilẹ̀ wa. Ìyẹn lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ nípa ẹjọ́ kí ní ẹ̀kọ́ nípa petition sọ fún gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa a béèrè pé ẹ ń bọ́ bá dé iṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ kéde mi bá nọ́mbà dé kí la ṣe pẹ̀lú yẹn tó bá ti ṣe tiẹ̀ tó ti ṣe ìfẹ́jọ́ tiẹ̀ mú kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn tó ní kó bá wù wá kọ́kọ́ tó bá wọn ní kálukú kó máa rò Yorùbá tí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ti lè nípa ọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́ dé òun ní ìyá wa onídìrí wọ́n fi sọ wípé ẹ má ẹnì kankan lówó nítorí ẹlòmíì àwọn sọ pé mélòó là ń rí local government ẹlòmíì yẹn ní ìyá onídìrí yẹn wo wọn ní kó má support tiẹ̀ tó máa ra data fún gbogbo wa là ń travel lọ sílé 200 naira wàá ra data 200 naira ìṣẹ́jú kan o lè fi fíìlì fọ́ọ̀mù. So gbogbo àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí ló yẹ ká máa gbèrò torí gbogbo wa la jọ ń gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń lọ. Ìyẹn lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Lórílẹ̀-èdè kórílẹ̀-èdè tí èèyàn bá wà mo fẹ́ fi dá wa lójú pé kì í ṣe torí pé ọ̀pọ̀ ni òye ní orílẹ̀-èdè òfin náà ń pè lórílẹ̀-èdè gẹ́gẹ́ bí bàbá wa bá ṣègùn ṣe sọ tá a bá ṣòfin ìjọba fẹ́ lé Ìgbò kò yí ọ̀pọ̀ ènìyàn Yorùbá nation Yorùbá country èdè òfin là ń pè bẹ́ẹ̀ òfin tá a bá ṣòfin lénìí ẹni tí ò bá tẹ́ lọ́rùn kó tẹ̀síwájú gbogbo àwọn àìmọye ọmọ Yorùbá, ọmọ Ìgbò, ọmọ Haúsá ló wà ní ìlú òyìnbó. Ó alẹ́ ń tẹ̀ lófin wọn, torí pé à ń tẹ̀ lófin wọn la ṣe lè dúró síbẹ̀, wọn ò lé wa. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa oríṣiríṣi la máa ń gbọ́ ìpè àtàbá ṣe tó máa àwọn yẹn ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wọ́n lè wà níbẹ̀, kò sí wàhálà. Òfin wa la fẹ́ ṣe, òfin tiwa òun la fẹ́ ṣe, òun la ń pè ní ìlú wa. Òfin ni, kì í ṣe pé a fẹ́ léèyàn tá a bá ṣòfin. Tó bá wù wọ́n kó tẹ̀lé gẹ́gẹ́ bí bá a ṣègùn ṣe sọ. Tó bá náà tẹ̀lé ẹ wá gbé báàgì ẹ wá lọ sí ìtọ́ ẹ pé o lè máa pàṣẹ fún wọn bẹ̀. Kò sí wàhálà bẹ̀. Èyí tó tún wá yà mí lẹ́nu jù ni wípé ẹ má bínú ọ̀rọ̀ ní 5 million people yìí. Mo máa ń gbọ́ ta máa ń sọ lórí àwọn platform tá a bá ń ṣe gathering báyìí. Ní Brazil oyè Yorùbá báyìí ló wà ń bẹ̀, ní Guyana oyè Yorùbá báyìí ló wà ń bẹ̀. Ṣé European country nìkan láti máa sọ pé a fẹ́ sáyìn kìíní àbí yóò wọ̀ tí Yorùbá wà ní Brazil lásán? Tó bá ṣe àwọn ní Brazil, ká má ti sọ Cuba, ká má ti sọ Jamaica, ká má ti sọ Ghana. Kí ló dé tá a rò wípé 5 million nǹkan tó máa tó ọdún kan kó tó pé ni? Ṣùgbọ́n àárín ara wa ní European country nílẹ̀ Yorùbá láti sọ àgbọ́ nípa àwọn other country wípé báyìí náà ṣe ń gbègbèsẹ̀. 5 million is a colossal number, kì í ṣe nọ́mbà tó kéré, a mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo àwọn ìlú wọ̀nyí ó yẹ ká máa rí feedback pé ibẹ̀ yẹn náà wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ petition wa yìí o, wọ́n sọ ní Ghana o, wọ́n sọ ní Sudan o, wọ́n sọ ẹmọ Yorùbá ibikíbi tó bá ti jọ mọ́ wọ́n á débẹ̀. Norway bó ṣe tutù tó Yorùbá wà ń bẹ̀, Iceland bó ṣe tutù tó Yorùbá wà ń bẹ̀, lórí ọ̀rọ̀ owó dé náà ni. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n sọ dé gbogbo bẹ̀ yẹn? So ẹ̀yin ènìyàn Ọlọ́run, ìṣe ló yẹ kí inú wa máa dùn pé orí ilẹ̀ wa la wà, á dẹ̀ ti gbalẹ̀ wa, àwa là ti ṣe tán láti sọ fún wọn wípé a ṣe mọ́. Ẹ kàn máa sọ ní a ṣe mọ́, ó ti rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọn ò lè gbógun tì wá, kò ṣeé ṣe. Ẹ ṣé gan ni o. Olúwa túbọ̀ máa fi òye ẹ̀ bá wa rìn o.
Lórí tí gbogbo àwọn kẹtẹ sọ, ẹ bá ní any special questions wà specific, à lè dáhùn ẹ lọ́fíìsì. Ẹ̀yin náà wà jẹ́ member of the central office, so bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. Olùpa àti sáyẹn àwọn kẹtẹ sọ wọ̀nyẹn, àwọn tó wà nílé àti sọ àti gbọ́ lẹ́nu bàbá Koiki pé we can support people at home, and that is what we will do to let this thing go on forward further. And then nípa àwọn èèyàn wa tó wà ní other countries, ẹjọ́ ẹ pè mí lọ́la káwọn nǹkan tá a lè ṣe lórí ẹ̀ pé ẹ̀yin lè máa bá wa handle project yẹn. Àwọn tó wà ní those other countries outside European countries tẹ mention yẹn, ẹ̀jẹ̀ pé ẹ̀yin lè ní inspiration yẹn, ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀, have some contacts tẹ́ pé lè máa bá wa follow wọn up, ṣe gbọ́.
Kò sí wàhálà, ẹ mọ̀ pé iṣẹ́ tá a gbà ní àwa là fi lélẹ̀ pé ká máa gbogbo Yorùbá káàkiri àti ṣetán ká lè máa polówó ara wa. Pè lọ́la kò sí wàhálà, máa pè. Ẹ ṣé gan ni o.
Ifá success. No, sorry, Galaxy A12. Fáwẹ́yìn mi. Ṣé bàbá Fáwẹ́yìn mi ni ẹ kọ́ sí ojú ọ̀tọ̀? Ẹ ò mute sir, tó ẹ pẹ́ yín ni o.
Àwọn kọ́sà ẹ kalẹ̀.
Oh, okay, all right. A ti pè tipẹ́ ìtàdé Galaxy A12.
Balógun Ifá success láti ìlú Ìbàdàn.
No, kì í tẹ̀ kẹ́yìn nìkan jẹ́ Galaxy A12 before your name. It's all right. Go on. Success.
Mo kí gbogbo ilé, mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá, mo kí ní ẹ̀làgbọ́rú àkọyè òṣìṣẹ́. Mo kí yín pé ẹ kú àtúnṣe, Elédùmarè ó bá gbé ka ibi tó dára. Àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kékeré kan tí mo fẹ́ mẹ́nu bà gẹ́gẹ́ bí bàbá wa ṣe ṣàlàyé. Àwọn bàbá náà dẹ̀ tún ti mẹ́nu bà bàbá ṣe gùn. Wọ́n ti mẹ́nu bà díẹ̀. Kí ni mo fẹ́ sọ lórí ẹ̀ nípa awareness, change mind wa, changing of mind. tó confront wa lórí ilẹ̀ ayé gẹ́gẹ́ bí Elédùmarè ṣe dá wa ìyẹn tí a bá mọ ibi tí Elédùmarè ti mú wa jáde wá ẹ rí i pé nígbà kan ní wa gẹ́gẹ́ pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn ìmúṣẹ ètò Elédùmarè lọ́n wà fún ibẹ̀ láti máa rí pé bóyá fàpẹẹrẹ bí ibẹ̀ láti ní Ọya ibẹ̀ láti ní Ṣàngó ibẹ̀ láti ní Ògún gẹ́gẹ́ bí láti lè má gbàgbé ibi tí a ti jáde wá náà ni pé bí a bá wà ní méjì mẹ́ta gẹ́gẹ́ bí ènìyàn a mọ̀ pé inú ènìyàn jì inú ẹ̀ ní Elédùmarè tí wọ́n bá ń jẹ́ kó yé wa pé inú àwọn tí òun rán ti wà yìí tí a ti ara wọn jáde ibẹ̀ láti máa rí pé a máa sọ pé àgùdọ̀ fi Ògún àbí Ṣàngó ká má fi búra èké ara nǹkan tí kò yẹ ká gbàgbé nìyẹn a dẹ̀ rí pé kò sí ìran kan tó lè ṣerú ẹ̀ lórí òkè pẹ̀ bí kò ṣe ìran Yorùbá nítorí pé ara wọn la jáde ẹ̀jẹ̀ wọn là ń lò ní ló jẹ́ ká wá superior more than other creation gẹ́gẹ́ bí ènìyàn ṣe Elédùmarè ó jẹ́ ká superior than any other people fún de èyí ó jẹ́ kí n jẹ́ kó fún àpẹẹrẹ kí n tún mú wa lọ sẹ́yìn tí a bá ka àwọn ìwé tí wọ́n gbé wá fún wa Quran and the Bible a rí i pé nínú fún àpẹẹrẹ ìtí mo mọ̀ dáadáa nínú Bible a rí i pé ẹ̀yà Yorùbá ó físítì ọba Solomon ẹ̀yà Yorùbá ara àwọn nǹkan tá a ti gbàgbé nìyẹn à ń pè ìyá wa ẹ̀ ní Erinlẹ̀ tá a bá dẹ̀ sọ lásìkò ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ènìyàn ni ò mọ̀ arabi tá a ti jáde wá tá a gbúdọ̀ gbàgbé nìyẹn nípa wa superior than any other people Erinlẹ̀ tá a sọ yìí gẹ́gẹ́ Bíbélì sọ pé ó fún ọba Solomoni ní góòdì more than 100 Quran náà sọ ń pa ẹ̀ kí mo wá fẹ́ fàyọ̀ ńbẹ̀ ni pé ká má gbàgbé ibi tí a jáde wá ó ṣe pàtàkì ó ṣe kókó tí a bá gbàgbé ibi tí a ti jáde wá a máa rí wípé gbogbo ohun tá à ń lè ìrọ̀rùn ló máa já sí fún wa àfikún tí mo tún fẹ́ fi kún àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tí bàbá wa ti sọ àwọn bàbá wa ti sọ tẹ́lẹ̀ ní pé bàbá wa ẹ má jẹ́ ká fi àwọn èèyàn wa sínú ewu o nípa wípé kò sí nǹkan tí àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ bá wa dulẹ̀ wa yìí kò sí nǹkan tí wọ́n lè ṣe fún wa wọ́n lè ṣe mẹ́wàá o kí ni nǹkan tó jẹ́ kí n sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé tá a bá wo 200 years ago tó ti ta bá lọ sẹ́yìn gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn bàbá wa wọ́n á jẹ́ kó yé wa pé àbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe máa ń sọ láàárín àwọn àwọn ọ̀dọ́ bí ẹgbẹ́ mi mo máa ń jẹ́ kó yé wọn pé tá a bá wo 200 years ago lọ tó máa sọ fáwọn bàbá wa gbà pé ìran Yorùbá kan máa wà tó jẹ́ pé tí wọ́n bá kọjú ìbọn sí ipò máa sá lọ àwọn bàbá wa yẹn á sọ pé láíláí kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ mélòó ẹ̀ làwọn á rí nìsín mélòó ẹ̀ làwọn á rí tó ti fi àdá pa tí wọ́n fìbọn pa tó túmọ̀ sí pé a ti kọ bí Elédùmarè ṣe dá wa a ti kú sílẹ̀ so that òun wá fẹ́ fàyọ nípa pé táwọn bàbá wa bá sọ pé kò sí nǹkan tí anybody lè ṣe wọ́n lè ṣe mẹ́wàá o nítorí pé tí a bá ní ká wo ìhà tí ìran Yorùbá ti kọ sí ibi tá a ti jáde wá a ti sọ lẹ́nu ẹ̀yin àgbàlagbà náà lẹ́dẹ̀ sọ pé ọmọ tó bá sọ lẹ́nu ó sọ àpò ìdàpọ̀ ní last year nígbà tí wọ́n dá Ifá-Ilé-Ifẹ̀ àdá ọkàn kí mo rántí ẹ̀ náà ọ̀sẹ̀ kànràn yes àdá ọ̀sẹ̀ kànràn Ifá yìí jẹ́ kó yé wa pé Ọ̀rúnmìlà ní ọ̀sẹ̀ nǹkan Ifá mo ní ọ̀sẹ̀ nǹkan tí Ifá yẹn ṣe lọ nìyẹn Ọ̀rúnmìlà lọ́sẹ̀ nǹkan Ifá mo lọ́sẹ̀ nǹkan ó ná kàndélé alára ó ṣe fipá lára Ọ̀rúnmìlà ní ọ̀sẹ̀ nǹkan Ifá mo lọ́sẹ̀ nǹkan ó ná kàndélé ajérò ó ṣe kú pa ajérò tábà ní káwò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tábà ní translation tá a lè fún lásìkò yìí a rí i pé àwọn Fúlàní wọ́n dé ilé àwọn Haúsá á rí pé wọ́n gbalẹ̀ wọn lọ́wọ́ wọn tí kò sí nǹkan tí ìran Haúsá kan lè ṣe lásìkò yìí àwọn ni wọ́n di emir. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì Ọ̀rúnmìlà lọ́sẹ̀ kan ọdún fáwọn lọ́sẹ̀ kan ó kàn dé gbàdúgbò á rí i pé Yíbò tó fi ń pa àwọn lọ́mọ náà lásìkò yìí wọ́n sọ pé ó rí òun ògbó pé ọ̀sẹ̀ kọ́kọ́ délé aláró ṣekúpa ó délé ajé oríṣekúpa jèrò Ọ̀rúnmìlà wa mú èjì òkú kẹta wípé ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn ará àwọn tó ń rò pé wọ́n lágbára ẹ̀ kò ṣẹlẹ̀ sóhun lọ́nà Ọ̀rúnmìlà dáfá sí wọ́n ní kọ́ Ọ̀rúnmìlà rúbọ o kí ogun yẹn má bàa gbé odù tá a dá ní láàsì ẹ̀ lélẹ́yìí àti ìdátọ́dún yìí sà tábà máa ń sọ nípa Ifá ti jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí Ifá ti jẹ́ kó yé wa kó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ tí kò dẹ̀ tí kò tí dùn tó báyìí gbà yẹn ara bi tó jẹ́ pé ó yẹ ká máa padà sí ká máa rántí pé Elédùmarè ti dá wa dáa Elédùmarè dá wa dáa ní àtòjẹ́ pé a nílò láti ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lọ máa gbàṣẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ ẹnìkan ká kọ́ mọ tẹ́lẹ̀dùmarè sọ fúnran Yorùbá. And then tí mo tún máa sọ ń bẹ̀ ni pé tí a bá fẹ́ mọ ìran wa a gbúdọ̀ máa kò sí ẹ̀sìn tá a nílò láti gbé dání a gbúdọ̀ máa mọ̀ nípa Ifá ló máa tọ́ wa sí ibi tá a ti wá Ifá ò ṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa ẹni tí ò bá mọ Fá gẹ́gẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá kò lè mọ̀ ìtàn ẹ̀ ìwọ̀nba àtàn tó máa mọ̀ ní ìwọ̀nba àtàn tí èyìnbó nígbà tó yìnbó dé ìwọ̀nba àtàn tó ń tàn máa mọ̀ nìyẹn ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá ń sọ nípa origination of ilẹ̀ àmì gbogbo ayé Ifá ló máa jẹ́ kó yé wa màá sọ èyí máa dákẹ́.
Ẹ ṣe gan ni jẹ́ ó ṣeé ṣe fún yín láti bá ká sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́la Monday lágbàá lọ́la.
Elédùn máa ṣọ́ wa jọ̀dá lọ sà.
Ẹ báwo ni mo ṣe máa gẹ̀ẹ́tì nọ́mbà yín ṣe máa sẹ́ǹdì ẹ̀ sí lórí chat.
Okay sà máa sẹ́ǹdì ẹ̀ ní ìsìn sà.
Lórí chat máa pè yín lọ́la wá lè mọ bó area yẹn a ò gbúdọ̀ sọnù láti ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀ wọ́n dẹ̀ bílẹ̀ pé àwọn tá à ń ṣiṣẹ́ secretariat Yorùbá sápẹ́ ní central office àwọn náà la máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí encourage àwọn ènìyàn wa lórí ìgbà tẹ̀sán yìí ṣé gan ni thank you very much ẹ send the number yín because àwọn bá lose contact lórí chat Nàìjíríà ilé lẹ́wà àbí. Okay, ẹ ṣe sá ìjọba sẹ́ẹ̀dì mama expect ẹ ní ìṣe ẹ ṣe sá ìjọba mama expect ẹ ní ìṣe bá a ṣe máa pè rẹ ẹ̀yìn ọ̀ṣọ́ a lè mọ bá a ṣe máa pe àwọ̀rọ̀ ní ṣàwọ̀rọ̀ ní àbí tí mo gẹ̀ẹ́tì ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ bá a sọ kí ló bá a ṣe orúkọ yín ẹ má bínú.
Orúkọ mi gangan ni ẹni ọ̀wọ̀ Ayédèrè Tàlàbí Àwòrò Ṣàṣà Àṣegbé nínà gíjẹ tí mo fi sílẹ̀. Ẹni ọ̀wọ̀ Tàlàbí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni mo kí bàbá wa Professor Banji Akintoye o àgbà bàbá wa yìí á dalẹ̀ pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ ikú tètè dé bó mo kí gbogbo àwọn náà tí ẹ̀rọ bàyí wọn ká ṣe rí àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa ti sọ ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn aṣíwájú ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan ni mo fẹ́ rọ̀ wá regarding mindset change. Ṣe rí gbà tí à ń kọ̀m̀pìà ìran wa pẹ̀lú àwọn Jews wọ́n mú wa ohun tó dé lórí ká wá mọ̀ ohun ọlọ́mọ ayẹyẹ wa kò sára tí ìran Júù dá tí ìran Yorùbá kò ti dá kò sí iwájú lè ló ń bèrò wọ́n lè jù wá lọ ṣùgbọ́n a ò ṣiṣẹ́ ní ẹ̀yìn púpọ̀ jù. Ibo lẹ dé gbogbo àgbáńlá ayé tí òṣèọmọ Yorùbá ló ń darí ẹ̀. Gbogbo Amẹ́ríkà ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ló ń darí iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá ọmọ Yorùbá ló wà níbẹ̀. À ń ṣiṣẹ́ lójú òfurufú à ń ṣiṣẹ́ lábẹ́ omi kò sí bí Yorùbá ò sí kí Fúlàní tó wá pa kádàrá wa dà Ọlọ́run á bá wa gba kádàrá wa padà sí dáadáa kó lọ́wọ́.
Kádàrá wa padà kì í ṣe tiwa.
Ṣe rí nǹkan kan ní ó kù ká mú mọ́ àwa Yorùbá ọ̀ Fúlàní náà dẹ̀ mọ̀ wọn náà fẹ́ràn tó mi ò lè wá kú attitude I cannot come and die attitude àwa Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ mú kúrò ẹ jẹ́ ká mú kúrò kí nǹkan kan tó pa fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àti sáwọlé á lóun kò lè wá kú ẹni bá kú ní tiẹ̀ gbé lọ́tẹ̀ yìí a gbọ́dọ̀ mú yẹn kúrò nínú ìwà wa ẹ wo àwọn Ísírẹ́lì tó bá ti pé ọmọ ọdún 18 ó gbọ́dọ̀ lọ sí iṣẹ́ ológun kó tó gbà ẹ̀ gángan wá ti kàwé dáàyè kan wọ́n ti máa kọ́ wọn ní military drill kò sọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Ísírẹ́lì kan ṣoṣo tí ò mọ̀ bá ṣe ń gbé bọ̀ kò sí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá celebrity kìíní náà dẹ̀ wá gbé lọ lé ìjóníṣà Fúlàní rí ẹ mọ̀ ọlọ́mọ ẹ̀kọ́ fi jó gbé wa lọ a gbọ́dọ̀ mú yẹn kúrò a gbọ́dọ̀ rọ̀ síwájú mi tí tó nù púpọ̀ mọ́ ìjọ ń pa wá lẹ́yìn Yorùbá àti gbogbo àwọn àṣà àjèjì ṣọ́ọ̀bù yẹn yé wa a ní láti mú kúrò àwọn èèyàn wa ohun tó bá ti gbóná fẹ́rẹ́fẹ́ àlá ò fẹ́ kú ṣùgbọ́n lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí òótọ́ ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sọ lórí ìkànnì yìí pé bọ́sẹ̀ la máa gbà á ò lè gba kínní ìbọ́sẹ̀ o ẹ̀fẹ̀ ká tọrọ wa jẹ o òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ bíi sọkúsọ kò ṣeé gbà bọ́sẹ̀ olórí ẹrú kò ní jẹ́ kí ẹrú kó lọ bọ̀rọ̀ aṣọ ìdíjà aṣọ lógun àdúgbò náà bàbá wa tó ń bá àfọpọlọ tó ó níbi ọpọlọ gbédé o àwọn náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí róye wípé a ti fọpọlọ dè wọ́n a ti mú òfin wọn a ti dànù Ọlọ́run ti fún wa ní constitutional force majeure nípa ọpọlọ àwọn bàbá ńlá bàbá wa wọ́n rí pé a ti yí wọn lẹ́pọ̀ sẹ́yìn o lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gbà o wọ́n á dàsá gidi o ẹ jẹ́ ká múra lẹ̀ a máa jagun o báà ní jagun kẹ́nikẹ́ni má sọ o ṣe rí gbogbo àwọn terrorist tí Buhari ti kó wọlé yẹn ó ti kó wọn síṣẹ́ ológun gbogbo àmọ̀ yẹn ó ti kó wọn sínú igbó gbogbo àmọ̀ yẹn wọ́n dẹ̀ ti pinnu tán pẹ̀lú Britain ìlú òṣì táwa yìí wípé ó máa pín sọ́nà mẹ́ta Fúlàní àkódà méjì àkódà kan fún Britain bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló ṣe rí bàbá náà ti sọ nínú ìtàn yẹn lára àlè jagun òfin kò sí lẹ́yìn wọn ṣùgbọ́n jàgídíjàgan kan wà lẹ́yìn wọn ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ múra sílẹ̀ o ká má gbọ́ pé iṣẹ́ máa gbà bọ́sẹ̀ o ọlọ́run ẹ̀ka kún fọ́tà yọ a ní láti lọ múra ogun sílẹ̀ a ní láti lọ múra ogun sílẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan kan tó rú mi lójú ni pé ìjọba ti ń bá ètò ìbọ̀ bí àwọn àjọ̀nù ló ń fi owó sọ̀pọ̀tì ètò ìní o bí àwọn áńgẹ́lì látọ̀run a ò mọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n agbára fọwọ́ tó ń fowó sọ̀pọ̀tì ètò ìpínkọ́lọ́ tó wà ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ à ń fẹ́ ja ìjà tó tó yìí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá a ò